哎，今天特别荣幸啊，有请到我们嘉宾 Patrick 跟我做这一期角色扮演啊。Patrick 你好，给大家打声招呼。我们现在有40位观众在线。
威廉你好，大家好。
哎，
今天很匆促的被通知要做这个事情。
对啊，我也是突发奇想啊，咱们试一试啊，咱们试一试，因为我觉得这个陆大脑袋那边这个搓澡的肯定也会直播这个事儿，咱们就公开给他打一下擂台啊，是吧？什么鸟博士啊，
好，
然后咱们不管那套，当然 Patrick 是真博士啊，是真正的博士。OK 啊。然后这边还没有开始，这边还在继续解读这场大选啊。Patrick，你对这场大选的辩论有没有什么你的关注的点啊？
嗯，我想很多人讲了很多了。那
嗯
上一次这个辩论算是有史以来这个总统辩论
嗯，
应该算是最乱的一次。
对对对，
嗯，对，
啊
对，至于听众来讲，可能很多人，大部分人是已经下了决心，能改的好像不是很多。
嗯
可是，你根据你在哪一个阶层、哪环境、
嗯
哪一周，
嗯，
你看到的大概都不一样，所以
对
实在很难说。
对对对
我是人在德州，所以这边大概没什么悬念。
啊。
其他地方就难说了。
对对对，现在这个初期，现在到现在为止投票的结果呢，然后暂时是民主党领先啊，暂时是民主党领先，然后领先53.5对43.8%。当然，这个它因为有这个选举团的制度，它随时可以变的啊，这些东西这不是最终的结
嗯。
果，但是领先还比较高啊，所以说看看川普今晚的表现啊。然后当然看点呢有很多啊，第一个就是他的主持人换了，那个 Chris Wallace 是上次大选辩论最大的失败者。没
然后他被骂惨了。
对对对，没控住场子啊。然后这个我作为一个这个主播节目的主持人，也要吸取教训这个地方啊。Alright，所以说这次这个新的主持人叫 Christine Welker 啊，也是 NBC 的一个记者跟主持人啊。然后看看他的表现是怎么样。然后这场辩论呢将会有90分钟，因为我跟 Patrick 咱们不是专业翻译嘛，然后这个同声翻译90分钟谁也做不了啊，咱俩人，所以说咱们中间会暂停，然后这种用一句翻译的这种形式给大家说，如果重要的地方啊，如果是那个就是不重要的地方，然后我们就大家都能听懂了，我们就不说了啊，然后咱们慢慢磨合，通过这90分钟行吗？OK，第一次合作，给第一
好，
次
好。
线上合作
对，
啊，
我想也
嗯
可能就不用他们每
嗯
个人讲2分钟都把它翻译足了，就重点
嗯
点一下就好。
嗯哼。
不然的话，我们这边的听众跟真的现场的那个会越拖越远，越
对对对
拖越久。
对对对对，说不定弄到凌晨，然后这边还没，
是啊，是
对
啊。
对对啊，OK，
哎，明天还要上班呢。
对对对啊，我是在假期啊，你还得上班啊，OK，我也倒了一杯酒啊，Whiskey on the rocks，OK，然后咱们慢慢聊啊，不急啊，那个 OK，还有一个看点呢，就是那个 Joe Biden 的这个丑闻的这个事件啊，今天川普说，他可能会叫主持人叫那个证人上来啊，但是我不知道允不允许这个规则啊，然后这个咱们就看啊，然后那个刚才那位证人也是开了新闻发布会啊，说他愿意作证，然后他知道这个 Joe Biden 跟他儿子的关系和有没有讨论这个通中门的事情啊，通中的事情，所以说呢，咱们看，然后 Joe Biden 那边对川普的关于这个 New York Times 这个报道，关于在中国的一个银行账户可能也会进行反击，但是他们这个推测说 Joe Biden 那边是不会回答，这是他的策略，因为他们现在领先，他只要不犯错就应该是 OK，但是咱们看川普那边会不会有绝地反击的动作出现，这是几个看点Patrick，
好
好的，
呀，大概今天大概就是这样。我相信以一般辩论的规则是不会准许他
对
带再带这个证人上来
对，你
毕竟这不是法庭的审讯。
对对对啊。
但是你也不知道这个川普会做什么事。
对对对对对啊！还有一个看点就是这次会关麦啊，就是说只要打断都会关麦，给他2分钟就要2分钟说完啊。然后这个也是根据上次进行的一次调整，但是关麦能不能关掉 Trump，所以这个咱们还要看啊。
严重怀疑，严重怀疑。
OK 啊，会不会川普这个自带话筒去，咱们就不知道了。OK，
你带个大声公过去。
对对对对对啊，像我这种麦霸啊，然后在哪个 KTV 关麦是不管用的。 包括 DJ 把我人搬了，我都可以化妆改名啊。OK， 然后all right OK。但是咱们不知道啊。然后这个，我这边是不是有点断呢？大家还能听见我吗 ？Chat disconnected， 让我重新刷新一下啊。OK， 可以啊，我看见 Patrick 的留言 ，OK， 可以啊。Patrick， 咱嫂子也是在关注这场啊，你的直播和这个大选辩论是不是啊 ？OK， 不要有压力啊。All right，OK， 好啊。然后呢，这次辩论每一个话题15分钟，一共有6个话题啊，他们是 COVID 与 COVID 的战斗、美国家庭、美国种族、气候变化、国家安全和领导权啊。我觉得这个焦点应该是在这个 COVID 和这个最后这个话题国家安全和领导权的问题啊，所以说应该是比较激烈的这一次。对，包括跟中国的一些政策和观点啊。OK，Patrick， 你在美国这么多年，你最了解一般这个民主党和共和党他们执政的方针不同是在哪里呢？具体？
这个有点难答，因为OK，我自己本身从前对政治不是特别的关注，那的了解也跟一般人讲的一样，就是民主党跟共和党一边是这个政府管的比较多，一边是比较政府要小一点，然后这个对这个税收等等它的多或少，这个一般的这个，然后再来就是有一些传统价值的这些议题，比如说同性婚姻，然后拥枪权等等这些事情，这边是比较分得清楚的。
OK 啊，对，芊他们在睡觉啊，芊他们已经休息了，然后是我们这边北美的时间，然后这个事情发生在北美时间，等德国大选的时候咱让芊直播啊，然后咱们到时候再说，OK， 或者是欧盟什么事儿，咱们让他们直播，OK 啊，好的啊，我觉得应该我们啊比陆大脑袋那边精彩，陆大脑袋又不懂，是不是又听不懂，然后红着个脸在那硬撑着，也不能上厕所啊，然后在那儿，然后让那几个博士说，对吧？然后应该是比那边有那几个博士呢假正经啊，也谈不出什么东西来，就是只是这人工翻译啊。但是咱们也别吹大了 ，Patrick， 咱俩第一次，说不定一开始卡了壳，希望大家这个多多包容啊。我们也是第一次合作和第一次干这样的事情啊。OK， 谢谢大家的包容，这个时候可以表示一下啊。然后这个，OK，All right， 那个咱们暂时先听一下歌吧啊，结巴念经啊，正好听完歌就开始了啊 ，Patrick，OK， 好，
但是到了要钱的时候，一点也不含糊。你不投资农场，你就是个特务。 做人物，我寄人篱下，不得不低头，却发现这房里的每个洞都有用处。他假装慷慨说给我30万。
哎，有一位叫朱串串的观众走错了直播频道啊，然后不知道为什么给打赏了一些50块钱的香港这个货币啊，然后喊了句理解万岁，理解万岁 ，OK， 好，现在明白了啊 ，All right， 现在明白了啊，稍等一下，这边好像已经开始了啊，然后我这边刚才网络有点问题，然后我马上切到那个画面啊。Come on， OK， 不会是啊？还没开始啊？还没开始，现在在热场啊！现在在热场。这是
Tonight, chosen by the moderator are fighting COVID-19, American
这是
families,
在介绍这个主
race
题
in
啊。
America, climate change, national security, and leadership. The final debate has in the past focused on foreign policy, and the Trump campaign complained about the changes made as a result of the cancellation of the second debate, which the commission decided would have to be done virtually. This debate on the latest calendar date in recent history comes as the coronavirus infection rate is again rising across the United States, and after the president himself contracted the virus 3 weeks ago. This matchup comes as early voting continues at an historic pace in all 50 states, with more than 47 million Americans having already voted.
OK，
Tonight's
4700万人
moderator
已
is
经投了
Kristen
票啊。
Welker of NBC News.
OK。
To her in a moment, but joining me tonight for our special coverage are PBS NewsHour White House correspondent Yamiche Alcindor, congressional correspondent Lisa Desjardins, who's covering the Biden campaign, foreign affairs and defense correspondent Nick Schifrin, and senior national correspondent Amna Nawaz, who will be watching the debate along with several voters linked in virtually from around the country. Plus, Amy Walter of the Cook Political Report.
啊，现在都是这种虚拟会议了啊，这个 Patrick 啊，世界正在改变中，对吧？
He's in Ohio.
没有错。
And syndicated
这
columnist
是一
Cynthia
些
Tucker,
比较
she's in Alabama. Welcome to all of you. We are so glad.
资深的记者，还有一些
对
选民也会参加这个虚拟会议。
对啊，对啊，然后这个刚才他说呢，这个三周前是因为川普感染了病毒呢，然后把这个事情给推迟了啊，然后对吧？第二次这个debate 给取消了，然后这个 Trump 还特别不高兴啊，然后对吧？然后对，因为他两边的竞选政策是完全不同的啊，然后这个民主党这边拜登就是尽量不给大家见面啊，然后那边川普就是我尽量露脸啊，性格也不同，他们的竞选策略也不同。2016年呢，那川普也是靠这个策略呢，然后赢得了大选啊，看这次还能不能成功？他的这个竞选策略就是 just being Trump being Trump
看来是这样。
对啊，
如果4年前有效，看看这一次如何。
好，咱们开始了啊。
Good evening from Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm Kristen Welker of NBC News, and I welcome you to the final 2020 presidential debate between President Donald J. Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden. Tonight's debate is sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates. It is conducted under health and safety protocols designed by the Commission's health security advisor. The audience here in the hall has promised to remain silent. No cheers, boos, or other interruptions, except right now, as we welcome to the stage former Vice President Joe Biden and President Donald J. Trump.
对，
除了现在欢迎他们到场。
对啊，首先是 Joe Biden 出场啊，哎，都出来了啊，两位同时出来。OK， 还是川普站左边，屏幕的左边，然后 Joe Biden 站在右边啊，我们好像在解说拳击赛一样。OK， 好，
真的。
两人互相问好啊。
And I do want to say a very good evening to both of you. This debate will cover 6 major topics. At the beginning of each section, each candidate will have 2 minutes uninterrupted to answer my first question. The debate commission will then turn on their microphone only when it is their turn to answer, and the commission will turn it off exactly when the 2 minutes have expired. After that, both microphones will remain on, but on behalf of the voters, I'm going to ask you to please speak one at a time. The goal is for you to hear each other and for the American people to hear every word of what you both have to say.
一次一个人讲话，这个就难了。
对，他有自由辩论的时候，然后咱们OK， 关于 COVID-19 啊。
The country is heading into a dangerous new phase. More than
40,000
Americans are in the hospital tonight with COVID, including record numbers here in Tennessee. And since the two of you last shared a stage, 16,000 Americans have died from COVID. So please be specific. How would you lead the country during this next stage of the coronavirus crisis? 2 minutes uninterrupted.
So, as you know, 2.2 million people modeled out were expected to die. We closed up the greatest economy in the world in order to fight this horrible disease that came.
有220万人感染，然后我们把美国最伟大的经济现在关上了啊。
From China, it's a worldwide pandemic.
这是从中国来的病毒，是一个全世界的疫情。
Over the world, you see the spikes in Europe and many other places.
然后现在你也看到欧洲的疫情又有负增长的这个期限啊。
If you notice, the mortality rate is down 85%.
然后这个死亡率呢降低了85%啊。
Excess mortality rate is way down and much lower than almost any other country.
我们的死亡率最低啊。
We're fighting it and we're fighting it hard. There is a spike. There was a spike in Florida, and it's now gone.
这有复苏的迹象，但是现在又去掉了啊，这个负气。
Florida 在增加。
对，在 Florida 啊 ，OK。
Very big spike in Texas. It's now gone. There was a very big spike in Arizona. It's now gone. And there are some spikes and surges in other places. They will soon be gone. We have a vaccine that's coming.
其他地方也要它的这 surge 也要去掉了啊。
It's going to be announced within weeks, and it's going to be delivered. We
然后疫苗将在几周内发布啊。
Which is the military is going to distribute the vaccine.
然后部队将会分发疫苗。
Personal experience that
从个人经验来说，我在医院中啊，我感染了这个病毒。他给了他们的治疗方案啊，是一条治疗方案治好了我。
And I got better very fast, or I wouldn't be here tonight.
OK， 我在很短的时间康复，要不我不会在这里啊。
Nobody's been able to say that, but I'm immune.
我现在免疫了啊。
Getting better. We have a problem that's a worldwide problem.
这是个全世界的问题，这是个全世界的问题。我们被所有的国家祝贺啊，然后我们处理的方式。我们关于这个个人保护用品的这些的复苏啊，我们的就是呼吸机的，对，我们发放了所有的呼吸机啊。OK， 现在这个病毒要走了啊。OK， 副总统那边 Patrick。
好，副总统，让你来领导的话，应该你会怎么做
？22万人已经死亡了。
Anyone who's responsible for not taking control, in fact, not saying I take no responsibility initially. Anyone who's responsible for that many deaths should not remain as president of the United States of America. We're in a situation where there are 1,000 deaths a day, and there are over 70,000 new cases per day.
现在有7万人。
Compared to what's going on in Europe, as the New England Medical Journal said, they're starting from a very low rate. We're starting from a very high rate.
这个他们欧洲的情况跟这不同，咱们暂停一下。他说的这个还挺重要的，就是他们是从很低的率，这个叫什么感染率开始的，而我们是很高的感染率开始的啊。OK。
Expectation is we'll have another 200,000 Americans dead.
可能还会有20万美国人死亡。
If we just wore these masks, the president's own advisors have told him we could save 100,000 lives.
戴口罩能证。
假如早点戴面具的话，戴口罩的话，可能就10几万人可以救活，不至于死掉。
对。他还是没有计划啊，然后怎么来抑制这个病毒。
我会要求大家就是一直戴口罩。
对。快速测试啊，措施。
然后有国家一个统一标准，如何把business 打开。
New England Medical Journal, one of the most serious
journals
in the whole world, said for the first time ever that the way this president has responded to this crisis has been absolutely tragic. And so, folks, I will take care of this. I will end this. I will make sure we have a plan.
OK， 然后拜登的观点，
我会 make sure
你说啊，
计划。
Sorry， 对啊 ，OK， 他就说他要有比川普有计划啊，然后来处理这个疫情啊。
President Trump, I'd like to follow up with you and your comments.
我想追问一下这个问题啊。
You talked about taking a therapeutic. I assume you're referencing.
关于你的治疗方案啊。
You also said a vaccine will be coming within weeks.
你说疫苗会在几周内发布啊
？Is that a guarantee?
这是确保吗？
有保证吗
？No. OK.
It's not a guarantee, but it will be by the end of the year. But I think it has a good chance. There are 2 companies, I think, within a matter of weeks. And it will be distributed very quickly.
OK， 然后应该计划是这个年底的时候会发布，但是有2个公司呢会
有2家公司，
对，有2家公司可能会在几周内发布啊，然后会发布出去啊。
Johnson & Johnson is doing very well. Moderna is doing very well. Pfizer is doing very well, and we have numerous others. Then we also have others that we're working on very closely with other countries, in particular Europe.
Let me follow up with you because this is new information. You have said a vaccine is coming soon within weeks now. Your own officials say it could take well into 2021 at the earliest for enough Americans to get vaccinated.
OK， 然后你的竞选团队就说啊，你现在说是这个几周内就会到来了，你的竞选说啊，那最早可能在2021年才让所有的美国人都得到这个疫苗啊。
And then they say the country will be wearing masks and distancing into 2022.
然后所有的美国都会戴这个 social distancing 和这个口罩到2022年啊。
Timeline realistic?
No, I think
这个 timeline 是真的吗？啊
？Timeline is going to be more accurate. I don't know that they're counting on the military the way I do, but we have our generals lined up. One in particular, that's the head of logistics.
川普好像要靠
依赖军方来做这个事。He's ready to go as soon as we have the vaccine, and we expect to have 100 million vials. As soon as we have the vaccine, he's ready to go.
OK， 有1亿的这个疫苗啊，
一支
疫苗马上就要靠军队发布啊。OK，all right.
President Biden, your reaction and just 40% of Americans say they would definitely agree to take a coronavirus vaccine if it was approved by the government. What step?
Patrick.
好，这个副总统，你统计上是说有40% 的美国人说，假如有了这个疫苗，他们就会去接受疫苗施打。
Would you take to give Americans confidence in a vaccine?
啊，你觉得
你要如何给美国老百姓这个信心？
对，
可以接受这个疫苗。
OK.
If it were approved.
Make sure it's totally transparent. Have the scientists of the world see it.
这个过程一定要是透明的。
Look at it. Go through all the processes.
科学家要检查过，经过这个验证。然后到明年这个 Easter 就是复活节的时候，
他就开始攻击了啊，这个地方的 same fellow 啊，同一个家伙，然后再说这个啊 ，OK。
Last time, this is the same fellow who told you that don't worry, we're going to end this by the summer. We're about to go into a dark winter. a dark winter.
我们会经历一个黑暗的冬天啊，
冬天会很艰苦。
对对对啊。
And he has no clear plan, and there's no prospect that there's going to be a vaccine available for the majority of the American people.
今年冬天就告诉我们夏天就会好，结果并没有变好。
对，为什么这样说呢？因为这两个是在辩论啊，然后这个 Joe Biden 他就要 attack 他的这个方案啊，就算这个 Trump 有这个方案，他也要 attack。为什么？因为他是在任处理这个事情嘛，他是不处理的，对不对？他是在野的啊，
对，
所以说他就要质疑他啊。OK。
For the middle of next year.
President Trump, your reaction?
OK， 然后让 Trump 回答啊。
He says you have no plan.
I don't think we're going to have a dark winter at all.
我希望没有 dark winter 啊。OK， 我不同意啊。
We've learned and studied and understand the disease.
我们现在学习了跟研究了这个病毒，现在我们明白了啊。
At the beginning, when I closed and banned China from coming in heavily infected, and then ultimately Europe.
进航的时候，从中国的时候啊，在今年1月份的时候，然后几个月之前，他说我是这个叫什么？
说我是反外国人。
对对对啊，反外国人。
I should have, moved quicker.
我应该更快的行动啊。
He was months behind me.
他落后我几个月啊，然后。
And frankly, he ran the H1N1
客气的说，他当时在 H1N1 病毒的时候啊，
猪流感，
对。
It was a total disaster.
但就是个灾难啊！
Numbers,
如果他来
700,000 people would be dead.
如果他来的话，就有70万人要死亡啊。OK。
But it was a far less lethal disease.
然后但是相当于猪流感的时候，这个是致死率很低的一个病毒啊。
Look, his own person who ran that for him, who, as you know, was his chief of staff, said.
他的这个叫什么幕僚长啊？
幕僚长，
对对对啊。
It was catastrophic. It was horrible. We didn't know what we were doing.
是灾难性的和非常恐怖的啊，根本就不知道我们当时在干什么。这是说这个Joe Biden的啊。
Now he comes up and he tells us how to do this.
然后他现在来告诉我
们该怎么办。
这个嘴都是挺厉害的啊，这些人啊。OK。
Everything that he said about the way, every single move that he said we should make. That's what we've done. We've done all of it.
他说的我们应该做的事情，我们都已经做了啊。
Vice President Biden, your response.
My response is he is phobic, but not because he shut down access from China, and he did it late after 40 countries.
哎，这 Patrick，
他把中国的这个旅游关掉，已经太晚了。
对，而且他说他不是因为这个，我说他是仇视外国人。OK， 好，继续啊。
OK。He's already done that. In addition to that, what he did, he made sure that we had 44 people that were in there in China trying to get to Wuhan to determine what exactly the source was. What did the president say in January?
哎，这句还挺关键的 ，Patrick， 你先说啊。
你来讲，因为我没有听到你。
OK， 他说我们有44位人要去武汉啊，然后要去武汉查一下这个源头啊，看看他是怎么说的。
He said no. He said he's being transparent. The president of China is being transparent.
他说这个中国的主席
他当时有说，对，当时他的好朋友习近平有跟他说，
对，
这个病毒到了夏天就没了。
OK 啊，好啊。
Debt of gratitude. We have to thank him.
我要感谢习近平啊。
And then what happened was we started talking about using the Defense Act to make sure we go out and get whatever is needed out there to protect people. And again, I go back.
我们需要国防法案来，我们去那里来保护我们的
国防生产法案，
对，
把所有的物资集中起来救人。
He had nothing. He did virtually nothing. And then
事实上他什么也没做，
基本上没做什么好事。
OK，
没做什么对事。
All right， 记住这是辩论啊，大家我们是没有观点的啊，这是辩论啊。
我并不表示我同意。
对。OK， 你的角色是 Joe Biden， 我是 Trump 啊。OK， 好啊。
He talks about this is don't worry. It's all going to be over soon.
他说别担心，我们都会过去的这个事情。
好了，
对啊。
There's not
Patrick, you take it from here. Okay.
Other serious scientists in the world who thinks it's going to be over soon.
President Trump, your reaction?
没有一个认真的真正的科学家认为这会马上结束。
OK 啊，这是当时川普说的话啊。OK， 继续。
当时川普的确是
对比较乐观啊，咱们这么说吧，比较乐观关于这个事情啊。OK。
Live with it. We have no choice. We can't lock ourselves up in a basement like Joe does.
啊，我们没有选择，我们不像他一样把自己锁在地下室里啊。
He has the ability to lock himself up. I don't know.
他有这 这个能力能把自己锁在地下室里，他可以，我不行，我每天得工作啊。
Obviously made a lot of money someplace.
然后还从别的地方赚钱啊。OK，
某处赚很多钱。
对对对 ，OK， 这个地方又要开始
朝那个方向打去了。
对对对对对啊 ，OK。
He has this thing about living in a basement. People can't.
He has the thing， 我都不知道这句怎么翻译，他可能特别喜欢住在 basement。OK， 这又是要打他性虐的事情啊。OK， 继续啊，挺好玩的啊。
By the way, I, as the president, couldn't do that. I'd love to
我作为总统，我不能这样做。
Myself in the basement or in a beautiful room in the White House and go away for a year and a half until it disappears.
我不能请假1年半，然后回来就参选啊。OK。
I can't do that. And Kirsten, every meeting I had, and I'd meet a lot of families, including Gold Star families and military families.
所有我跟所有人的见面啊。
And I had to meet them.
我要和他们见面。
It would be horrible to have canceled everything.
我不能取消一个会议啊。
This is dangerous.
这是非常危险的。
You catch it, and you know I caught it.
然后这是我为什么得病的原因啊。
I learned a lot.
我学了很多在里边。
Learned a lot. Great doctors, great hospitals, and now I recovered.
现在我这个康复了啊。
99.9%of young people recover.
就99.9%的啊，这个年轻人会康复啊。
99% of people recover. We have to recover. We can't close up our nation. We have to open our school.
对，我不能把我们的经济全部关上啊，把我们的国民全部关上，像拜登一样。OK， 这个人。
We can't close up our nation, or you're not going to have a nation.
对，我不能把我们的国家关上，然后我们就没有国家了啊。OK，
没有国家。
Of course, the CDC has said young people can get sick with COVID-19 and can pass it. Vice President Biden, I want to.
OK， 这个 CDC 说了啊，然后年轻人也会得啊，也
是会得，也是会
传染。对啊 ，OK， 从这儿开始啊，这个 Patrick 啊 ，OK。
Talk broadly about strategy, though. You have
Can I respond to that?
30 seconds, please, and then I have a question.
No, number one. He says that we're learning to live with it. People are learning to die with it. You folks home will have an empty.
共存。
对。
There at the kitchen table this morning, that man or wife going to bed tonight and reaching over to try to touch their, out of habit, where their wife or husband was, is gone.
OK， 然后家人就消失了啊，就是说，有一个你想触碰一下你的旁边的家人的话，他们已经去世了啊，他就在描绘一个 picture 是吧？啊 ，OK，
对
，learning to live with it. Come on, we're dying with it because.
很多人为此而丧生。
对。
不要再说我们如何跟他共存
啊！对。
He has never said. You said it's dangerous. When's the last time? Is it really dangerous still? Are we dangerous? You tell the people it's dangerous now. What should they do about the danger?
总统似乎是没有提醒或警告人民说这个危险性。
对对对啊，
一直在比较轻描淡写的。
对。
And you say, I take no responsibility.
Let me talk about your.
然后说我不负这个责任。
对对对 ，OK， 这个地方啊，看看川普现在又要打断了啊，然后这个主持人在问话啊 ，OK。
I take full responsibility. It's not my fault that he came here. It's China's fault. And you know what? It's not Joe's fault that he came here either.
不是 Joe's fault.
It's China's fault. They kept it from going into the rest of China for the most part.
对他自己把国家关上了，但不阻止世界的传播啊。
Vice President Biden.
OK，
从武汉往全世界飞。
When we knew it was coming, when it hit, what happened? What did
当我们知道这个病毒来的时候，发生了什么事情啊 ？Patrick，OK，your turn，OK。
President say, he said, "Don't worry, it's going to go away, be gone by Easter."
他说不用担心，马上就会消失的，病毒马上就会消失。
OK，sorry 啊，我们稍微我这边啊 ，OK，
这个我们这不太容易接。
对，
威廉，不然你就做大部分的翻译，我在旁边
好的啊，好的啊，我们磨合一下啊。OK， 我不行了再换你啊。OK， 好啊 ，All right，
我们试试看，因为对，
好的啊。
He said he was kidding when he said that, but a lot of people thought it was serious.
啊，他当时就是说，他说在开玩笑啊，这总统说没事啊，然后那好多人就没有拿这个当真啊。
A range of things the president has said, even today, he thinks we are in control.
啊，你特别是到现在，他们还说他们我们在一切都在我们掌控之下。
掌握状况。
200,000 more people.
啊，这又来了，又死了20万人啊。OK， 然后。
President Trump.
OK， 那 Trump.
Look, perhaps just to finish this. I was kidding on that, but just to
OK， 又开玩笑啊，就是让我先说完这句话啊 OK。
When I closed, he said I shouldn't have closed.
啊，当我关掉这个国家的时候，他说我们不应该关掉啊。
And that went on for months.
然后这持续了好几个月这个状态啊。
Nancy Pelosi said the same thing. She was
Nancy
dancing
Pelosi 也说了这样说的啊。
在旧金山中国城庆祝新年，还在路上跳舞。
对。
This is a terrible thing. You're xenophobic. I think he called me.
这是一个你做了一个很错的决定，然后你仇视外国人啊。OK。
说他是种族主义。
对。
I was closing it to China. Now he says I should have closed it earlier.
然后现在他说我们应该早关上。
现在我应该对。
OK。
两边都是能把死的说成活的。
对。OK， 这有观众说我是麦霸啊，不是，我们中间有个这个延迟的问题啊。OK， 我跟 Patrick，
各位听众不好意思，因为这个不太容易记。
对啊。OK， 我先撑一段啊，然后不行 Patrick 再来一段，咱们看看大家都有，没关系啊，我们是 team。OK， 好啊。
I talked about his xenophobia in a different context. It wasn't about closing the border to Chinese.
我说的他仇视外国人和这种族主义，并不是因为是这个他关掉了关于中国的航班的原因啊。
All right, I want to talk about both of your different strategies.
我想说一下你两个不同的方案啊。
He thought I shouldn't have closed.
OK， 这川普又接话了，看这是主持人啊。OK， 他就说
我不该关门，
对我就不该关门啊。OK。
Border. That's obvious.
这很明显。
Do you want to respond to that quickly, Vice President Biden?
OK， 就不愿意回应啊。OK， 两个人好像要吵起来的感觉啊。OK， 然后主持人该说。
Let's talk about your different strategies toward dealing with this. Mr. Vice President, you suggested you would support new shutdowns if scientists recommended it. What do you say to Americans who are fearful that the cost of shutdowns,
国家再关闭？
对。
impact on the economy, the higher rates of hunger, depression, domestic and substance abuse. Outweighs the risk of exposure to the virus.
然后会对这个，
这对人的影响可能比这个病毒还要严重。
对啊 ，OK。
Say is I'm going to shut down the virus, not the country.
这是什么意思呢？
我说我是要下档，我是要把病毒关起来，不是要把国家关起来
啊。OK， 这句话还我不太理解啊。OK， 这个拜登有点糊涂这时候啊。
说的容易吧？
对啊。
Caused the country to have to shut down in large part. Why businesses have gone under, why schools are closed, why so many people have lost their living, and why they're concerned. Those other concerns are real. That's why he should have been, instead of in a sand trap in his golf course, he should have been negotiating with Nancy Pelosi and the rest of the Democrats and Republicans about.
总统不应该去继续打高尔夫球，他应该跟 Nancy Pelosi 来 negotiate 来谈一个这个
方案，
来援救国家的计划，救助国家的经济计划。
对啊。
To do about the acts they were passing for billions of dollars to make sure people had the capacity.
But you haven't ruled.
OK， 然后让人有点富裕的啊，然后来这个方案来拯救国家的经济啊。
More shutdown.
然后但是他去打了高尔夫啊，他说这意思啊。All right， 看主持人说什么啊。
Well, no, I'm not shutting down the name, but there are look.You need standards. The standard is if you have a reproduction rate in a community that's above a certain level, everybody says slow up, more social distancing.
如果这个病情到了一定的
社交距离
，OK， 对，如果病情到达一定程度的话啊
，Do not open bars and do not open gymnasiums. Do not open until you get this under control.
运动场，健身房这些先别开，
对
，control under more control.But when you do open, give the people the capacity to be able to open and have the capacity to do it safely. For example, schools, they need a lot of money.
开的时候要让大家能够安全的开，比如说像学校。
对。
To deal with ventilation systems, they need to deal with smaller classes.
这其实就是钱的问题啊，是吧？资金的问题，预算
没错，
对，
最后都是钱。
对啊。
And he's refused to support that money, or at least
他不愿提供这些资金啊。
To now.
Let's talk about schools. President.
然后主持人说啊，然后我们要说一下学校啊，川普这个地方可能要回话啊。OK。
I think we have to respond if I might.
我来回应一下啊。
Please, and then I have a follow-up.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. Look, all he does is talk about shutdowns, but forget about him.
他一直在说关闭经济啊，然后别管他。
His Democrat governors, Cuomo in New York.
Cuomo Democrat 啊，然后共和党对共和党的。
What's going on in California? You look at Pennsylvania.
看看 California， 看看 Pennsylvania。
North Carolina. Democrats all. They're shut down so tight, and they're
然后 Democrats 的 shutdown 是更紧的啊。OK。
They're dying. And he supports all the
然后他们 dying， 然后这个 Joe Biden 支持他们。
People All he talks about is shutdowns. No, we're not going to shut down.
OK， 他就是要关闭啊，然后但是我们不要关闭啊。
We have to open our schools.
我们要把学校打开。
And it's like, as an example, I have a young son. He also tested positive.
啊，我的儿子也感染了病毒啊。
By the time I spoke to the doctor the second time, he was fine. It just went away.
啊，然后他就没事了啊。
I guess it's their immune system.
Let me follow up with you, President Trump.
年轻人啊，可能他们的免疫系统跟我们不同，他们可能会没事啊。然后主持人要 follow up 啊。OK。
Demanded schools open in person and insist they can do it safely. But just yesterday, Boston became the latest city to move its public school system entirely online after a coronavirus.
OK， 然后波士顿昨天你说这样没事，但是波士顿昨天它整个的这个学校的系统都是在网上上网课了啊。
Spike, what is your message to parents who worry
啊，
that
你
sending
对
their
这
children
个
to school will
父母
endanger not only their kids
是要
but
什么
also
信
their
息啊
teachers and families?
I want to open the schools.
啊，我想把学校重新打开。
Transmittal rate to the teachers is very small.
啊，然后这个老师之间的这个
老师啊生病的几率很低。
对。
I want to open the schools. We have to open our country. We're not going to have a country. You can't do this. We can't keep this country closed. This is a massive country with a massive economy. People are losing their jobs. They're committing suicide. There's depression, alcohol, drugs, at a level that nobody's ever seen before. There's abuse,
很多失业，很多自杀，
对，很多自杀，很多酗酒问题，很多毒品问题啊，我们要打开。对，所以说这个你不打开它，这个会比打开它要，就是会比这个疫情要更痛苦啊。OK。他要关闭所有的事情啊。
Bureaucracy says we should close it down.
只有一个人同意 close down， 就是他啊。
We ought to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. We ought to be able to safely open, but when they need resources to open, you need to be able to, for example, if you're going to open a business, have social distancing within the business.
OK， 如果你要打开的话，你需要更多的资源，比如说啊，如果你要 open 的话，你需要 social distance 啊。
You need to have, if you have a restaurant, you need to have plexiglass dividers so
对，你需要这个玻璃挡板啊。
餐厅都必须用玻璃挡板。
对啊。
Infect one another. You need to be in a position where you can take testing rapidly and know whether a person is in fact infected. You need to be able to trace. You need to be able to provide all the resources that are needed to do this. And that is not inconsistent with saying that what we're going to make sure that we can open safely. And by the way, all your teachers out
国家打开并不违反。
OK， 对。
There, not that many of you are going to die, so don't worry about it.
啊，不像他说的这个说年轻人不用担心你们死
不会那么多人死，所以不用担心，
这
想法不好。
But don't worry about it. Come on.
President Trump, let me follow up with you quickly.
By the way, I will say this: if you go and look at what's happened to New York,
啊，你看看纽约的啊
，it's a ghost town.
啊，是鬼城了。
It's a ghost town. And when you talk about plexiglass, these are restaurants that are dying.
对，你要加上玻璃挡板的话，
纽约成了个鬼城了。
对，你要给餐厅加上玻璃挡板，然后这个餐馆就死了啊。
Businesses with no money.
啊，然后没有钱。
Plexiglass is unbelievably expensive.
对，很贵的啊，根本就不是这个答案啊。你会坐在一个工作间里吃饭吗？啊，你不能这样做啊。
Take a look at New York and what's happened to my wonderful city for
我的家乡
I loved it. It was vibrant. It's dying. Everyone's leaving
现在都是鬼城，包括郭文贵啊。OK， 当然这是我家的。
down in terms of the number of people dying, and I don't look at this in terms of the way he does. Blue states and red states, they're all the United States. And look.
哎，我不分红蓝州啊，然后我看大家都是美国人啊。
The states that are having such a spike in the coronavirus, they're the red states. They're the states in the Midwest. They're the states in the upper Midwest.
然后反而是红色的
中西部的这个共和党州现在反而得病的人增加很快。
对。
The spike is occurring significantly, but they're all Americans. They're all.
但大家都是美国人。
对。
All Americans. And what we have to do is say, wear these masks, number one, make sure we get the help that the businesses need that has money's already been passed to do that. It's been out there since the beginning of the summer, and nothing's happened.
Patrick， 你需要
该发钱资助的就发钱资助。
对啊，这就是共和党，就是民主党，他一概是这样啊。OK。
President, New York has lost more than 40,000 people, 11,000 people in nursing homes.
President Trump, what about?
OK， 然后纽约死了4万人，然后是11000人是护士啊。
Say, Spike,
nursing home 的那个养老院
养老院啊 ，sorry，OK， 听在后面 ，OK， 好。
In Pennsylvania,
在 Pennsylvania，
take a look at what's happening with your friend in Michigan, where her husband's the only one allowed to do anything. It's been like a prison. Now,
像米西根像监狱一样啊。
Ruled unconstitutional. Take a look at North Carolina.
North
They're
Carolina
having spikes,
他
and
们也
they've
有
been closed.
对
And they're getting
他们也是，就是尽管是已经 close， 但是还有这个第二次的复发啊。
killed financially. We can't let that happen, Joe. You can't let that happen. We have to open up.
你不能让这个事情发生啊！我们要重新开启我们的经济啊！
Understand the disease. We have to protect our seniors. We have to protect our
要
elderly.
照顾我们的老人啊！
We have to protect especially our seniors with heart problems and diabetes problems. And we will protect with the best testing in the world by far. That's why we have so many cases.
Let me follow up with you before we move on to our next section. President Trump, this week you called Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's best-known infectious disease expert, quote, a disaster. You described him and other medical experts as, quote, idiots. If you're not
你说 Fauci 是这个，
你把 Dr. Fauci 叫他是个大灾难，其他的专家都叫做是这个白痴。
对。
listening to them, who are you listening to?
你在听谁的建议啊？
Including Anthony, I get along very well.
我跟 Anthony， 我跟
Fauci
处得很好啊。OK，sorry， Patrick，OK，all right.
With Anthony, but he did say don't wear masks. He did say,
他的确有说过不要戴面具。
This is not going to be a problem.
他说这不是问题啊。
I think he's a
Trump
Democrat,
也
but
一开
that's
始都
okay.
不戴口罩，不是吗？
对啊，咱们不知道这个地方他怎么圆啊。OK， 咱们听一下啊。刚才让我说不要弄这个叫什么过文棍乱入啊。OK，sorry，my bad。OK，
So this is not going to be a problem. We are not going to have a problem at all. When Joe
我们
says
不会
that,
有问题。
I said, Anthony Fauci said, and others, and many others, and I'm
然后
not
Anthony Fauci 这个医生和其他的专家都说没有问题啊。
knocking him a lot. Nobody knew. Look, nobody knew what this thing was. Nobody
当时谁也不知道是怎么回事啊。
knew where it was coming from, what it was. We've learned a lot. But
我们在
Anthony said,
过程
don't
中
wear
学习，
masks.
然后
Now,
Fauci 说不要戴口罩啊。
wants to wear masks. Anthony also said, if you look back, exact words, here's his exact words. This is no problem. This is going to go away soon.
这个没有
So
问题。
he's allowed to make mistakes. He
他可
happens
以
to be a
犯
good
错误
person.
啊，当然他是一个好人啊。OK。
quickly, and then we're going to move on to the next section.
OK， 这个副总统你
赶快
回复
评论一下，我们到下一个话题。
OK。
Is that think about what the president knew in January and didn't tell the American people.
看看总统1月的时候知道些什么事，然后没有跟大家说。
He was told this was a serious virus that spread in the air, and it was much worse.
已经有人告诉他这是很严重的病毒，是空气传染的。
He went on record and said to
OK。
然后他当时这个当众跟大家说
，that in fact he knew how dangerous it was, but he didn't want to tell us.
他知道这个多危险，但是不想跟大家讲。
不想造成这个危机感啊。
Don't panic. He panicked.
恐慌。
事实上，他可能自己恐慌了。
对。OK。
Time we find out in the New York Times the other day that in fact his folks went to Wall Street and said this is a really dangerous thing, and a memo out of that meeting.
说他的官员们有跟他们讲这个非常危险。
Not from his administration, but from some of the brokers said, sell short because we got to get moving.
赶快卖。
It's a dangerous problem.
Well, this is
I'm going to give you 30.
告诉股市说赶快卖。
OK 啊，好啊
，sell。
对 ，OK， 川普又要回应啊，咱们看看主持人是怎么主持的啊。
Seconds to respond, and then we're going to move on.
I don't know. Somebody went to Wall Street. You're the one that takes all the money from Wall Street. I don't take it.
有人说
从华尔街赚钱，我并没有。
对，我这里想评论一下，这个主持人好像比那个 Chris Wallace 要 soft 很多啊。这个 Patrick 挺会做事的，我觉得应该是不会。
还好。
对啊，偶尔。
川普今天比上次温和许多。
对啊 ，All right.
You have raised a lot of money, tremendous amounts of money, and every time you raise money, deals are made, Joe. I could raise so much more money as president and as somebody that knows most of those people. I could call the heads of Wall Street, the heads of every company in America.
我筹了很多款，但是我做了交易啊。
But I don't want to do that because it puts me in a bad position. And then you bring up Wall Street. You shouldn't be bringing up Wall Street.
对，你不应该提起华尔街啊。
谁都可以提华尔街，
就你不能提。OK， 开始了啊。
Because you're the one that takes the money from Wall Street, not me.
你在华尔街拿钱
that like you wouldn't believe. We don't need money. We have plenty of money. In fact, We beat Hillary Clinton with a tiny fraction of the money that she was able.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to move on.
Average contribution $43.
All right, we're
average $43 OK average contribution 他就说他付税每年43美元啊 OK 这俩再打啊
move on to our next section which is national security
啊这个国家安全啊
and I do want to start with the security of our elections and some breaking news from overnight. Just last night, top intelligence officials confirmed again that both Russia and Iran are working to influence this election.
OK 啊，这个
官员说，苏俄跟这个伊朗在设法影响这个选举。
对啊，俄罗斯跟伊朗啊 OK。
Both countries have obtained U.S. voter registration information, these officials say, and Iran sent intimidating messages to Florida voters. This question goes to you, Mr. Vice President.
伊朗也送这个威胁性的消息给佛罗里达州的选民。
哦，这就是今天推特上啊，有好多人收到这个短信是吧？说你不选那个我就让你消失什么这样的啊，这原来是伊朗发的啊。
应该讲的就是这个事情。
OK 啊 ，All right OK
这从伊朗来的。
OK 好，伊朗人怎么这样的啊 ？OK 继续啊。
What would you do to put an end to this threat? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
啊，你俩各自的方案是什么啊？然后一个人有2分钟啊。
2分钟。
OK， 那看不知道谁先来啊。
I made it clear.
啊，拜登先来，那这段交给你 Patrick 啊 ，OK， 我会可能他说完一句我
讲得很清楚
啊 ，OK， 好的啊。
And I ask everyone else to take the pledge. I made it clear that any country, no matter who it is, that interferes in American elections,
任何国家只要来影响我们选举的
they will pay a price.
就要付出代价。
It's been overwhelmingly clear this election. I won't even get into the last one. This election.
上次就不说了，这次这个选举非常清楚的。
That Russia has been involved, China
俄罗斯、
has been involved to
中
some
国。
degree. Now we learn that Iran is involved.
现在伊朗也都来搅局。
OK.
They will pay a price if I'm elected.
他们会付出代价。
Interfering with American sovereignty. That's what's going on right now. They're interfering
美国的主权绝对不容侵犯。
with American sovereignty. And to the best of my knowledge, I don't think the president said anything to Putin about it.
就我所知，总统并没有谈这些事情，都没有提到这些事情。
对。
I think he's stalking them a lot. I don't think he said a word. I don't know.
然后他对普京啊，然后也没有说过什么话啊。OK.
Why he hadn't said a word to Putin about it?
他为什么什么都没
And I don't
说呢？
know what he has recently said, if anything, to the Iranians. My guess is he'd probably be more outspoken with regard to the Iranians. But the
OK 对伊朗人啊，
最近他对伊朗评论比较多。
point is this, folks. We are in a situation where we have foreign companies.
我们现在这个状况是有外国的人、其他国家，
to interfere in the outcome of our election. His own national security advisor told him that what is happening with his buddy.
他的国安顾问。
Well, I will. His buddy Rudy Giuliani. He's being.
好了啊，
他的好兄弟Rudy Giuliani 市长
来了，
又是哪壶不热，
对，
不开提哪壶。
他先提啊，他的策略啊，我觉得还挺好玩。他先提出来，哎，是吧？啊 ，OK，Rudy Giuliani 啊，老郭这时候估计听着也是冷汗啊，陆大脑袋听不懂啊，老郭这句能听懂啊。OK， 咱们继续看啊。OK。
Used as a Russian pawn, he's being fed information that is
苏俄的棋子。
that is not true. And then what happens? Nothing happens. And then you find out that everything that's going on here about Russia is wanting to make sure that I do not get elected the next president of the United States because they know I know them.
千方百计不要我当选。
Know me. I don't understand why this president is unwilling to take on Putin when he's actually.
我不懂为什么这个总统不愿意的面对普京的挑战。
对啊，所以说我说啊，这些人都不是吃素的，是吧 ，Patrick 啊？然后他后边的这个团队给他策划的这些东西都是非常好的，直达你的重点啊，然后看怎么见招拆招，这样这个选举制度才能见识到你的政客的能力，对不对？虽然你是背稿子也好，准备好了也好，你现场反应也好，但是你有这个过程，对不对啊？这就是我为什么要做这个大选的目的啊！今天晚上啊 ，OK， 是，你说有好人吗？世界上没有好的政客，但是你得看能力吧，对不对啊？咱们继续看啊，
没错，
paying bounties to kill American soldiers in Afghanistan.
俄罗斯在阿富汗曾经有悬赏，然后让别人去杀美国士兵。
Aids and activities that are trying to destabilize all of NATO. I don't know.
对北约，
然后要让北约不稳定。
why he doesn't do it, but it's worth
为
asking
什
the
么他就
question.
不敢面对普京？
Why isn't that being done? Any country that interferes with us will, in fact, pay a price because they're affecting
任
our
何来影响我
sovereignty.
们选举的国家都必须要付出代价。
因为他们影响了我们的主权啊。OK， 主持人这边啊，川普怎么说啊？这个可能会来重磅啊。OK， 咱们看一下啊。All right，OK，bracing
myself。
对对对。
Let me ask the question. You're going to have 2 minutes to respond.
我要问这个问题啊，你先不要回答啊，然后问完了以后你有2分钟啊。
For 2 elections in a row now, there has
也有2次选举了啊。
substantial interference from foreign adversaries.
有外国来的干预啊。
What do you do in your next term?
如果你下一次被选举的话，你会干什么？
Put an end to this. 2 minutes
Well, let
uninterrupted.
me
有2分钟啊。
respond to the first part as Joe answered. Joe got
我先回答 Joe 的刚才的这个质疑啊。
$3.5 million from Russia.
他弄了多少 2.5 million 是250万从
250
俄罗斯啊。OK。
And it came through Putin because he was very friendly with the
然后是从普京那里来的啊。对啊。
former mayor of Moscow, and it was the mayor of Moscow's wife. And
莫斯科从前市长的太太
啊 ，OK
来的钱
，OK 啊 ，OK。
$3.5 million. Your family.
$3.5 million350万美元从这个莫斯科的老婆啊，莫斯科市长的老婆啊。
$3.5 million, and you know someday you're going to have to explain why did you get.
你必须会解释这个事情，有一天啊，为什么你弄了这些钱啊？
I never got any money from Russia. I don't get money from.
我从俄罗斯从来没拿到钱。
Now about your thing last night, I knew all about that.
然后昨天你说的这个 interference 这个干预大选的事情，我一直在知道啊，我一直知道。
Through John Ratcliffe, who is fantastic.
从这个叫什么 John Ratcliffe， 就是那边那个叫 DNI 啊 ，Director of National Intelligence。National
Intelligence。
对对对啊，情报，这样我从那儿知道了啊。
He said, the one thing that's common to both of them, they both want you to lose.
他们会都想让你失去，就是
俄罗斯跟伊朗都
让你失去。这是也是个很好的角度啊，对吧？啊 ，OK， 咱们继续啊。
There has been nobody tougher to Russia.
我对这个对俄罗斯是非常叫什么 tough 啊，非常这个强硬的啊。
Between the sanctions, nobody tougher than me on Russia.
没有人比我更强硬啊。然后那些制裁，然后包括北约的那些东西啊。OK， 我增加了投资啊。
1亿多，跟他们要了1亿多的钱。
对，然后要了
因为北约很多国家并没有付军费。
对啊 ，OK。
While he was selling pillows and sheets, I sold tank busters to Ukraine.
我给乌克兰卖了 tank busters， 就是反坦克导弹啊，应该是啊。
There's been nobody tougher.
没有人比我对俄罗斯这个更强硬啊。他们不行啊。他们占领了这个叫什么潜艇基地啊，潜艇的港口。 你的这个任期，这个奥巴马时间，然后他们把这个乌克兰的这个潜艇基地交给
乌克兰那一部分
，OK， 对，交给了俄罗斯啊。 他们给你了好多钱，还在给啊。今天出来的东西啊，更糟糕啊！看看你的邮件啊，那些惊人的邮件，你这些钱啊，你
搂了多少钱？
你搂了多少钱？开始了啊 ，OK，raking in。当时这个发生的时候，你还是副总统呢啊 ，OK。
It should have never happened.
应该不会发生的啊！但是你当时是副总统啊。
I think you owe an explanation to the American
我想你应该欠大家一个解释啊。
people. Why is it? Somebody just had a news conference a little while.
刚有人开了新闻发布会啊，证明你啊。
Ago, who was essentially supposed to work with you and your family.
但跟你家人有合作的一个人刚开了新闻发布会，就是那个证人叫什么 Plusky 啊，什么那个人啊 ，OK。
But what he said was damning and.
他说的你完全是在谴责你啊。
Regardless of me, I think you have to clean it up and talk to the American.
你应该给大家解释一下啊。
People, maybe you can do it right now.
你是不是现在能解释一下？
现在坦白一下
啊 ，OK 啊，好 ，Patrick， 下一段交给你啊，这个 Joe Biden 啊 ，OK 啊，好啊，OK， 继续啊，挺精彩的时候到了啊 ，OK。
Vice President Biden, you may respond. 30 seconds, and then I do want to follow up on the election.
I have not taken a penny from any foreign source
我
ever
1分钱都没有跟外国拿。
Oh my God. OK.
in my life. We learned that this president paid 50 times the tax in China as a secret.
哎 ，Patrick， 给你点时间啊。
他付了50倍的 tax 税
啊，在 China 啊。OK， 好。
Bank account with China, does business in China.
还在中国有生意，
还有在中国大陆有账号，在那边做生意。
And in
在
fact,
那边付的税比他付美国还多，是这个意思吧？
应该是50倍啊，然后43美元，然后付了2000多万元，不知道啊，具体数字不知道，咱们继续看啊。
Talking about me taking money, I have not taken a single penny from any
他说我拿
country
钱，根本没有跟人家拿过钱。
OK，
whatsoever, ever. Number one.
这是第一点啊。第二点 ，Patrick，
第一点
，Two, this is a president. I have released all of my tax returns. 22 years.
这个总
Go
统
look at
的话，我22年来的交税报告，我全部都有公开。
22 years of my tax return. You have not released a single solitary year of your tax return.
你1年都没有秀出来过。
What are you hiding? Why are you on?
你在藏什么？
你在藏什么啊？这个拜登就把这个话题就转移了，是吧？啊 ，OK， 这个地方他没有直接回答那个问题啊。看看一会儿这个 Trump 这边怎么说啊。
The foreign countries are paying you a lot. Russia's paying you a lot.
外国的公司也有给你很多钱，俄罗斯也有给你钱。
And your hotels and all your business.
你的旅馆，你的生意。
This is all around the country.
中国啊，也给你钱啊。对，全世界都在给他钱。OK。
All around the world. And China's building a new road to a new a golf course you have overseas.
中国大陆在盖新的路、新的高尔夫球场。
What's going on here? Why don't release your tax return or stop talking about corruption?
为什么不敢公开你的交税记录？
对，然后你不要谈论这个腐败了啊！然后好像这句话好像说的有点泄气，这个 Patrick 是吧？
Yeah.
对吧？为什么 stop talking 这句用的不对啊 ？OK， 当然 OK， 看川普这边啊，对吧？是吧？啊 ，OK， 继续啊，
真的是。
First of all, I called my accountants. Underwrote it. I'm going to release them as soon as we can. I want to do it.
OK， 然后我跟我的这个会计师说了啊，我会尽快公布他们啊。
Show how successful, how great this company is, but much more.
然后会展示我的公司是多么成功啊。
Importantly than that, people were
比这个更重要的是
$750. I asked them a week ago. I said.
People 节省了700，
因为有看过他那个个人税只交了750元
啊。OK，
然后他说他问他的那个会计师说看他怎么问
啊。All right， OK。
What did I pay? They said, Sir, you prepaid tens of millions of dollars. I prepaid my tax. Tens over the last
prepaid， 他提前交了吗？然后
对，有的时候有这种 business 你可以事先交
啊，
或者事先交了1000万元的税
哦 ，OK，
提早交，
他会吗？啊 ，OK， 咱们看啊 ，OK，
这是他说的。
Tens of millions of dollars I prepaid because at some point they think it's an estimate. They think I may have to pay tax. So I already prepaid it. Nobody told me.
啊，我提前交了，因为他们说这是一个我们的预算啊，我就提前交了啊。
因为你估计你明年会赚很多，你可以提前交。
哦 ，OK 啊。
Whenever they write this, they keep talking about $750, which I think is
他们老在说我1年交775美元的税啊。
filing fee. But let me just.
但只是这个 filing 啊，那只是这个叫什么处理费啊。OK， 这个叫
付这个会计师都不止750。
哦，对 ，OK 啊。
I prepaid millions and millions of dollars in taxes. Number one, number two.
这个地方也有不合逻辑，他不说具体数字是吧？他说 millions of millions 啊，这个就也有点 fishy 啊。咱们当然有什么说什么啊。咱们
我想问题就是说，他要是每一年的都公布出来，这个
对
就很清楚。对，这个是他的一个很大的弱点。
对，而且他不说，你比如说你说 millions and millions， 这就给人一个感觉好不实在的感觉，对不对？你说比如说 2 million 啊，你这样说啊，然后就比较实在，但是我不知道他为什么啊。OK， 继续啊。
I don't make money from.
因为生意人是不可能在美国是不可能不尽量避税。
对
那避税的时候，有些手段就可能就有点灰色。那我个人感觉，Trump那个时候做生意的时候，可能也是有这样，所以现在公布可能就不太好看。
对啊 ，OK。
You do. I don't make money from Ukraine.
我不从中国挣钱，我不从乌克兰挣钱。
I don't make money from Russia.
啊，我不从俄罗斯挣钱。你看 Joe Biden 的表情啊，然后
又拉回去。
对对对啊 ，OK， 又拉回去啊，对对对，又你不回答我就往你身上扔啊 ，OK， 挺好啊 ，OK。You
made $3.5 million.
你挣了350万，从俄罗斯啊，从俄罗斯啊。
Your son gave you.
你的儿子给你的啊。
Statement.
你因为也有银行的对账单啊。
We have to give 10%.
给你儿子的零用钱。
对，那对，We have to give 10% to big man 啊。但这是他儿子说的，我给老爸得10%啊。
Big man, you're the big man, I think.
你是这个大人物啊。
I don't know, maybe you're not.
也不知道是不是你啊。
Big man, I think. Your son said we have to give 10% to the big man. Joe, what's that all about?
那这是怎么回事啊？
Terrible.
All right, gentlemen, I want to ask.
这是很 terrible 的事情，这是怎么回事啊？谢谢明香啊，刚看见，不好意思，我们集中力太集中在这个方面啊。OK， 谢谢啊。OK，Patrick， 下一段交给你啊。All right.
Both some questions about all of this, but I'm going to let you both respond very quickly.
啊，他说他有一个问题，然后他就要回应这个问题啊。然后 Patrick 从主持人这里交给你啊。OK。Hello， Patrick， 你在吗
？Hello， 呀。
OK， 好啊。
You just said you spoke to your accountant about potentially releasing your taxes. Did he tell you?
你的会计
师谈过你的税的问题。
When you can release them, do you have a deadline for?
能够公布我就会公布。你说你能够公布就会公布，那这个期限是什么时候？
对啊，看他怎么说啊。
You're going to release
I
the
get
American
treated
people?
worse than the Tea Party got treated because I have a lot of people.
哎，他不回答呀。
对，我被对待比这个茶叶党被对待还要糟糕，
还要狠啊 ！OK，
他们对待我比对待茶叶党还要波士顿茶叶党还要狠
啊。
And they're deep down in the IRS, they treat me horribly. We made.
他对我太 horrible
啊。内政部对我的实在是糟透了
啊，太狠了，可能啊。OK，
波士顿茶叶党这个美国革命就是因为波士顿茶叶党被英国课税，所以才闹翻的嘛。
他是用的这个典故。
他说这个
他
们对我比对这个波士顿茶叶党还要狠。
哎，你看，这就是我为什么邀请 Patrick 来，他就知道这些典故，人家是博士，我就不知道啊。能来外来克星队枪声，英国收税，他们查我的税比这个比查党的时候还要强。哎 ，very good，thank you Patrick. That's why we have you here. Okay, cool 啊。
Settled until I decide to run for president. I get treated very badly by the IRS, very unfairly.
他们
内政部对我很不公平，对我非常糟糕。
OK，
非常坏。
We had a deal all done. As soon as we're completed with the deal, I want to release it, but.
当我这个完全把这些都谈好的时候，我就会想把它公布啊。
I paid millions and millions of dollars, and it's worse than paying. I paid in advance.
然后比交税还糟糕啊！
付税还要糟糕。
我觉得这里有点夸张哎。OK 啊 ，OK 继续啊。
It's called prepaying your taxes. I paid in advance.
我提前交了预交税啊，预交税了，这个比交还要糟糕。但是我觉得他不是傻子，是吧？这个 Patrick， 你觉得？
是
啊。OK， 有什么说什么啊，大家不要攻击啊，这确实是觉得有点夸张啊。咱们继续啊。
Ask you both about questions regarding your potential foreign entanglements and questions.
你们跟这个叫
你们对跟外国这些纠葛
啊，对。
Been raised to give you both a chance to talk about this more broadly. Respond very quickly, and then I'll get to my question.
OK，
请赶快回答。
Why did he's been sick?
这个主持人确实比那个 Chris Wallace 特别会来事儿啊。这个，哎，你别说不中立啊，我觉得很中立啊。他每个人都给一段时间啊，然后他会现场处理这个事情。我觉得这个主持人比那个 Chris 要好啊。然后
很不容易啊，
对，
这个架子谁接得下来啊？
对啊，非常不容易啊，咱们要学着点啊。OK， 好，我要学着点啊，因为我也想当个主持人，对不对？这个啊 ，OK， 继续啊 ，OK， 咱们继续听啊。下一个 Joe Biden 啊，这段还是给你啊，这个 Patrick 啊 ，All right.
This for 4 years. Show us, just show us. Stop playing around. You've been saying for 4 years.
就把这4年的税交给我们看，给我们看就好了。不用再东躲西藏。
对。
So, Mr. President, what they do know is you're not.
川普虽然话筒没有声音，但是他的手势在做啊，给大家看清楚这些小细节啊。All right, OK.
Paying your taxes, or you're paying taxes that are so low. When last time he said what he paid,
交税或者交的税交的那么少。
He said, I only pay that little because I'm smart. I know.
因为我很聪明，所以我睡觉的少。
How to game the system? Come on.
我知道如何是钻空子，基本上。
OK，
这是他说，川普说过。
So
President Trump, and then I want to get.
OK， 那个主持人又要发问了啊，这又要有对峙啊。
Two questions to both of you on this.
I was put through a phony witch hunt for 3 years. It started.
我在3年的时候，
一个猎物，我被猎物，
对，我被大家猎物啊，这3年了啊。
Before I even got elected.
啊，然后从我被选之前啊。
Spy to my campaign. No president should ever.
他们然后用间谍手段来用我的这个竞选啊，来弄我的竞选啊，没有总统应该受到这样的对待啊。让我说完这些啊。穆勒还有18个这个叫什么愤怒的民主党人啊。FBI 的探员和4800万美元啊，花了4800万美元，然后过了所有的事情，包括我的税收啊，交税记录啊，什么也没查出来啊。
48 million. I guarantee if I spent 1 million on you, Joe, I could find.
如果我花100万美元在你身上，
那花100万来查，我不知道可以查到什么东西。
对
，plenty wrong because the kind of things that you've done and the kind of monies that your family has taken. I mean, your brother made money in Iraq.
啊，你的兄弟，你的弟弟还是哥哥
在伊拉克赚钱，
在伊拉克赚钱啊。
Millions of dollars. Your other brother made a fortune, and it's all through you, Joe. And they
都是通过你啊。
You get some of it, and you.
然后你从这儿拿好处费啊。
Live very well. You have houses all over the place.
你全国都有你的住所啊。
Very well.
All right, gentlemen. Let me just ask some questions about all of this broadly. Vice President.
这个 Trump 的表情不是这个 Joe 的表情有点木讷呢啊，好像是啊。OK， 咱们继续看啊。OK。
Biden, there have been questions about the work your son has done in China and for Ukraine.
你儿子在中国做的事情。
An energy company when you were vice president. In retrospect, was
能源公司华信啊，是吧？OK。
Anything about those relationships inappropriate or unethical?
哎，你觉得
你知道这些关系是恰当或是合乎伦理的吗
？Nothing was unethical. Here's what.
OK， 没有
都是符合伦理的，都没有不符合伦理的。
对。
Deal. With regard to Ukraine.
说
在乌克兰。
We had this whole question about whether or not, because he was on the board, I later learned of Burisma, a company.
Burisma， 因为他是在 Burisma 公司的这个董事会里。
Somehow I had done something wrong. Yet every single solitary person, when he was going through his impeachment, testifying under oath who worked for him, said, I did my job impeccably.
每一个关于当时穆勒调查的人，在他作为证人的时候，那时候都发誓了，然后说 Joe Biden 做的工作是没有任何错误的啊，是吧？他也用在这个穆勒的这个案子啊，在打他，对吧？
对，
Carried out U.S. policy. Not one single solitary thing was out of line. Not a single thing.
我是实行了美国的政策，我没有任何一件事是这个违反美国的政策的。
One. Number two, the guy who got in trouble in Ukraine.
第二点啊 ，OK， Patrick.
Was this guy trying to bribe?
在乌克兰惹祸的这个人。
The Ukrainian government to say something negative about me, which they would not do and did not do because it never.
他这个人是要乌克兰政府对我说一些负面的话，
所以
对我攻击我。
对。
Happened. My son has not made money in terms of this thing.
我儿子没有在那里赚钱。
What are you talking about? China.
他这个地方有点想不起来啊。
以中国来讲，
对啊。
Have not had. The only guy made money from China is this guy.
OK， 我觉得这个地方这个
有在中国赚钱的是唯一在中国赚钱的是我旁边这个人是吧？
对，我觉得这个 Joe 怎么好像在硬掰呢？这可能是他的策略啊，他就是不回答，然后指向他，对不对啊？对啊 ，OK。
Only one. Nobody else has made money from China.
没有人在中国赚钱，就是他啊，就是川普啊。All right， 看看他。
好
，OK， 这个好像很苍白，是不是这个回复啊 ？All right。
对对，这个有点，这个真的是就在耍赖了
啊！对 ，OK， 原来这个辩论可以耍赖的啊 ！OK， 那这个蓝莲花区应该也行啊 ！OK， 咱们继续啊 ！All right，OK， 啊。
President Trump, let me ask my question to you.
然后我现在要问问题，这俩又有交锋啊。
One thing.
Very quickly.
哎，这个主持人会来事儿啊。
他儿子，
对，
他就川普就拼命把他儿子要扯进来。
对啊 ，OK。
Didn't have a job for a long time.
他儿子
很久都一直没工作。
对啊。
Was sadly no longer in the military service. I won't get into that.
也离开了军方，服役，他是被军方赶出来的吧
？OK。
And he didn't have a job. As soon as he became vice president, Burisma, not the best
Burisma 的 VP 之后
，reputation in the world. I hear they paid him 183.
然后并不是一个很有声望的公司啊，然后特别有声望的公司。
对，然后他就拿了1.8亿
啊
，$80,000 a month. Listen to this.
啊，不是
18万，
多少
？10万
3千一个月啊，18万3千一个月啊 ，OK。
183, and they gave him a $3 million upfront payment.
All right.
And he had.
然后给了300万的，
开头就先给他300万，
开头先给了300万啊。对，主持人这里有打断啊。
No energy.
I'm going to let the Vice President respond to that quickly, and then I need to get to a question to you. Very quickly.
No basis for that. Everybody investigated that. No one said anything he did was wrong in Ukraine.
OK， 他一点没有根据啊。
调查人员没有一个人说他在乌克兰有做错任何事，这个很苍白。
对，然后会不会啊？咱们看 FBI 那边是不是会有解雇啊？然后咱们看啊，这个会后续再看啊。OK。President
Trump, this is for you. Since you took office, you've never divested from your business. You've personally promoted your properties abroad. A report this week, which was referenced, does indicate that your company has a bank account in China.
啊，你在中国有有银行账户啊？
你没有把你在你个人的投资转移开、分散开，从你的 business 里转开，然后这个礼拜的报告是说你在中国有一个账号。
OK。
Voters know that you don't have any foreign conflicts of interest.
然后你自己说你在其他国家并没有这个冲突跟美国利益冲突的事情啊 ，OK。
Any bank accounts and they're all listed and they're all over the place. I mean，
我的所有的这个银行账户都在这里，大家就是都是叫什么 all listed，
都是公开，
都列出来了啊 ，OK。
I was a businessman
，OK。
And doing business.
我曾经是个商人，我在做生意啊。
Bank account you're referring to, which is everybody knows about it.
所有人都知道我这个账户啊，
listed. The bank
都在公开的行列之内啊。
account was in 2013.
那是2013年的账户啊 ，OK。
What it was opened it was closed in 2015. I believe.
2015年啊，然后关上的这个Joe Biden这个表情是怎么回事啊 ？OK 啊，咱们看一下怎么伸了舌头啊。All right， 继续啊。
And then I decided because I was thinking about doing a deal in China like
我当时在想是跟在中国合作啊 ，OK。
millions of other people.
然后就像其他几百万人一样啊。
Thinking about it, and I decided I'm not going to do it.
然后我决定不做了。
I decided not to do it. Had an account open.
然后有曾经开过一个账户啊。
Close it.
Okay.
然后关上了。
Excuse me. And then, unlike him, where he's
不像他一样啊。
Vice President and he does business. I then decided to run for president after that.
然后在这之后，我才决定竞选啊。OK， 决定要竞选。
Before, so I closed it before I even ran for president.
然后我把这个银行账户都关了，然后我那时候都没有竞选啊，然后之后我才进行的竞选啊。
Let alone became president. Big difference. He is the vice president of the United States.
这个和他不同的是，他当时可是副总统啊。
副总统。
And his son, his brother.
他的兄弟，他的儿子啊，
are getting rich.
然后从里边贪污啊，拿钱。
A vacuum cleaner, they're sucking up.
然后像这个吸尘器一样吸钱，
就是漏钱。
OK， 川普确实。OK，All right.
President Trump, thank you. We do need to move on.
这不是真的啊。OK， 拜登说不是真的啊。下一段啊。
I do want to ask you. Vice President Biden about China. Let's talk.
我来问问中国的问题啊 ，OK， 这也是大家最关心的，大家注意听啊。
About China more broadly, there have, of course, President Trump has said that they should pay for not being fully transparent in regards to the coronavirus.
病毒的事情要负责任。
You were president. Would you? make China pay? And please be specific. What would that look like?
哎，这是个好问题。
你要是当了总统，你会让中国付出代价吗？然后请讲清楚你要如何让中国付出代价。
OK， 这个问题很好，看看 Joe 的反应啊，咱们注意啊。
What I'd make China do is play by the international rules.
按照国际的这个准则，来做事情。
Not like he has done. He has
不像他。
caused the deficit.
这两个人好像口头语就 I like him, I like him. OK, like him. 然后 OK 就这样啊 ，All right.
To the China to go up, not down. With China, up, not down. We have
他要跟中国
他让
你说啊。
对我对中国的这个手段会比他还要再升高。
OK.
Ensure that in order to do business in China, you have to give all your intellectual property. You have to have a partner in China.
像他从前在美国公司在中国做生意都得要放弃，或是放弃自己的这个智慧财产权，技术转移。
对，还要有一个当地的合作伙伴啊，然后拥有51%的股权，对吧？OK。
好像是。
Not do that at all. Number one. Number two.
我们不
会再让那个发生，我不会再让那个发生。
对，这个 Joe Biden 的说话方式就是说完了加个 number one， 然后就来 number two。OK， 继续啊，他不知道说多少啊。对啊 ，OK。
We're in a situation where China would have to play by the rules internationally as well. When I met with Xi, and when I was still vice
习近平的时候，
对。他们要按照国际准则来办事儿，不用再宠着他们来惯着他们，以他们的规则来办事儿了啊！来办事儿了，这就是他的想法啊。
President, he said we're setting up air identification zones in the South China Sea. You can't fly through them. I said we're going.
然后在南海的问题上啊，然后
这个航空识别区，南海航空识别区的问题。
OK。
Fly through them. We just flew B-52, B-1 bombers through it. We're not going to pay attention.
我们的 B-52 跟 B-1 才刚刚过去，我们根本不用理会他们所谓的航空识别区。
Play by the rules. And what's he do? He embraces guys like the thugs like in North Korea and
他说他跟这个金三胖这个小流氓这个巴蒂
对啊，
他就说川普
对啊。
And the Chinese president and Putin and others.
然后普京，
然后也跟这个习近平跟普京也都是巴蒂，都是好朋友
啊。He pokes his finger in the eye of all of our friends, all of our allies. We make up.
反而是对我们的盟友们那个都攻击。
对，
他说川普对美国传统的盟友反而这个比较攻击比较多。
对，欧盟啊、北约啊，是吧？OK， 好。
是。
Only we're 25% of the world's economy.
我们
是全世界经济的1/4。
OK， 好。
Need to be having the rest of our friends with us, saying to China, "These are the rules. You play by them, or you're going to pay the price for not paying."
必须要我们所有的朋友，我们需要我们所有的朋友都一起来跟中国说，这是国际上的这个标准规则，你必须照规则办。
OK， 好啊。然后主持人说，他说他要回复啊，川普啊。OK。就是拜登的观点，就是说让中国按照国际法律来做事情，是不是啊？别管你什么禁飞区什么的，我就飞啊。然后而且对我的盟友要好一点，而不是对这些流氓政权好一点，对吧？OK， 这不是川普在做的吗？这是拜登在做的吗？我就不太明白这里他说的是以后吗？还是怎么着啊 ？OK，
他应该是讲他以后
OK， 咱们看川普啊。OK。
That mean I have to respond to that.
Okay.Very quickly, and then we're going to move on to North Korea.
$1.5 billion from China to
又拿了2500万美元啊！你从中国啊 ，All right, OK.
Spending 10 minutes in office and being in Air Force 2.
OK， 然后你在这个10分钟就在办公室里待了10分钟，你就上了这个空中2号啊 ，OK。
Number one, number two, there's a very strong email.
这就很强烈的这个 email 啊，这个邮件。
About your family wanting to make $10 million a year.
啊，你的这个家人
一年想赚1000万，
一年想赚1000万啊。
Introductions.
President Trump.
然后是这个介绍费啊，一年介绍费。
China policy though, what specifically?
啊，然后这是那个啊，你看这个拜登表情有点急啊，然后等我说完，川普啊。
You gonna do What specifically are you going to do to make China pay? You've said you're going to.
对，然后
你要
对中国，让他们怎么来对这个 COVID-19 的事儿负责任啊
China is paying. They're paying billions and billions of dollars. I just gave $28 billion.
他说这个是经济制裁啊，虽然他说中国现在就在支付啊这个 billions 这个属于实际的，但是这个主持人说这是制裁啊，这是你的这个贸易战的制裁啊。
Sanctions?
I just gave $28 billion to our farmers.
啊，我给了2.8亿啊，不对，28 billion 28亿啊，对吧
？28亿啊，
对，28亿，对，给我们的农民280亿啊，给我们的农民。
28 billion，
OK，
280亿，
想不到卡住我们的是数字啊，给280亿美元给了我们的农民啊。
It's what?
Taxpayers' money.
啊，那是纳税者的钱啊，
这是我们的税。
It's called China.
这是中国来的钱啊，不是真的啊，这个不关卖呢，怎么回事这里啊 ？OK。
And you know what they did to pay it, Joe? They devalued their currency, and they also paid up.
啊，然后他们使他们的货币贬值，然后但是也是给了我们钱啊。
The money, our farmers, our great farmers.
然后我给了我们的这个农民啊。
Targeted. You never charged them anything.
你从来没给他们收过钱啊。
Also, I charged them 25% on dumped steel
啊，
because
我收到他们
倾销
钢铁25%的关税啊。
they were killing our steel industry. We were
然
not
后
going
他们在这个谋杀我们的钢铁制造业。
to have a steel industry.
Okay.
And now we have a steel
Okay,
industry.
Vice President Biden, your response, please.
OK， 哎，这个地方好像没让他说完啊，然后拜登来说啊
My。response is, look, this isn't about. There's a reason why he's bringing up all this malarkey. There's a reason for it.
OK， 这有一个原因，他把这些事情都弄出来啊，乱七八糟的事情都弄出来啊。OK。
I want to talk about the substantive issues. It's not about his family and my family.
这个不管是我们的家族的问题，哎 ，OK， 这个地方啊，这个 Patrick 啊，你觉得你有什么感觉呢？
对他说他不讨论实在的事情，
对，
因为这不是他的家人跟我的家人的问题
啊。OK， 好，
对吧？我就是替拜登翻译啊。
对，不用老声明啊，咱们观众都明白啊。OK， 好啊。
Family. And your family's hurting badly. If you're making less than
啊，是关于所有美国人的家庭，
美国人的是一般美国人的家庭，那你们每个美国人都受害很重。
If you're a middle
OK
class family, you're getting hurt badly right now.
你的
You're sitting at the
中
kitchen
产阶
table
级
this morning
都
deciding,
受伤
we
很
can't
重。
get new tires for their ball because we have to wait another month or so. Or are we going to be able to pay the mortgage? Or who's going to tell her she can't go back to community college?
OK， 你不能上学，不能。
谁能告诉我？谁来告诉你的女儿说她下学期不能去上学了？或者你们家里房子付款贷不出来，贷款付不出去。
Decisions you're making in the middle class families like I grew up in Scranton and Claymont, they're in trouble. We should be talking about your families.
这些
That's
中
the
产阶
last
级
thing he wants to talk about.
都现在问题都很大，我们不应该是讨论你的家人或我的家人。
对
I want to talk about.
OK， 然后看川普啊，他不会让这个问题这么轻易就消失的啊，应该是啊，继续啊，
应该不会。
North Korea. I do want to turn to 10 seconds, Mr. President.
That's a
10 seconds.
typical political statement. Let's get off this
这是一个典型的政客在回答问题啊。
thing, and then he looks the family around the table, everything.
啊，你就看所有人的 family， 所有大家的饭桌啊，
Just a
大家的
typical
饭桌有没有
politician
饭，
wants
有
to
没有
see
水
that.
务等等。
对啊 ，OK，
About
not a
North
typical
Korea now.
politician.
Okay,
That's why I got
这是一个典型的政客啊。
Let's talk
Let's
about-
get off the subject of China. Let's talk around
然后不要说中国的问题了，咱们说所有人的饭桌问题啊。
around the table.
All right.
Come on, Joe, you can do better.
We're going to
啊，然后确实这个地方就我觉得啊，有点现在不是这个传统政客的时代了啊。OK， 好啊 ，OK， 继续啊。
talk about North Korea now.
哎，关于三炮啊，这个北朝鲜啊。
President Trump, you've met with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un 3 times. You've talked about your beautiful letters with him. You've touted the fact that there hasn't been a war or a long-range missile test. And yet North Korea recently rolled out its biggest ever intercontinental ballistic missile.
对你跟他见面了2次了，然后你跟他说啊，他给你写了一封，
现在又推出最大的洲际飞弹。
对啊，他又给你写了封美妙的信啊，然后为什么现在又推出洲际飞弹啊 ？OK，
and continues to develop its nuclear
然后
arsenal.
还有他的这个 nuclear 的这个军火库啊，也在对核武器库，对也在建立当中啊。
Do you see that as a betrayal of the relationship you forged? Just 30 seconds here because we
啊，你觉得这是在 违背你们之间的协议吗？
背叛了你吗？
对，背叛了你吗？啊 ，OK。
Get on to the next.
So when I met with Barack Obama, we sat in the White House right at the beginning, had a great conversation.
我跟奥巴马开会的时候，然后在那个白宫啊，然后在一开始的时候
It was supposed to be 15 minutes, and it was well over an hour.
然后本来应
应该
该是
15分钟的会变成1小时多
啊 ，OK。
He said the biggest problem we have with North Korea.
我们最大的问题就是北韩。
He indicated we will be in a war with North Korea. Guess
他说我们迟早跟北朝鲜打仗，
what? It would be a nuclear war, and he does have plenty of
然后
nuclear
会是一个核子战争。
OK。
capability. In the meantime, I have a very good relationship with him.
哎，
同时，我跟这个金正恩三胖关系不错。
Kind of a guy, but he probably thinks the same thing about me.
OK， 他是个 kind of guy 啊，他是那一种的人，但是他可能觉得我也不错啊。OK，
We have a different kind of a relationship.
我们有一种不同的关系
A
啊，
very good relationship,
啊，
and
非常好的关系，
there's no war.
没有战争。
You know, about 2 months ago, he broke into a certain area. They said, "Oh, there's going to
2个月前他进了一个禁止的领域啊
be，trouble." I said, "No, they're not.
啊，是不是有问题？他说，我说我没有问题啊。
He's not going to do that." And I was right. Look, instead of being in a war where millions of people, Seoul, you know, is 25 miles away.
然后有
那汉城只有这个25英里之外，
啊，对，然后几百万人啊，
Millions and millions, 32 million people in Seoul. Millions of people
3200万人。
对啊。
would be
Okay.
dead right now.
President
We
Trump,
don't have
如果我们打仗的话，那些人都应该都会死了啊！
早死了。
My God，OK，
30
have a
seconds,
good
thank you.
relationship.
Vice President Biden, to you, North Korea conducted 4 nuclear tests under the Obama administration.
啊，当时在奥巴马执政的时期，他们进行了4次核试验啊，这个北韩。
How do you think you would be able to rein in this persistent threat?
你有
Because
办
I'd
法
make it
把它掌握住吗？控制
Clear,
住。
which we were making clear to China, they had to be part of the deal because here's the I made it clear and as
必须跟中国也一起谈判，他们一定都是同一部分。
spokesperson of the administration when I went to China, that they said, why are you moving your missile defense up so close? Why are you moving more forces here? Why are you
你
continuing
为
to
什么要
do
把他在中国？我在中国的时候问中国大陆为什么把你们的这个防卫线拉的这么近？
对，
military maneuvers with South Korea? I said, because
为什么对叫什么南韩进行这个武力运动啊，武力这个部署啊 ？OK，
North Korea is a problem, and we're going
北韩是个问题啊。
因为
to continue to do it.
嗯
So we can control them. We're going to
啊，我们可以控制它啊。那个 Patrick，OK， 下一段交给你啊。
没关系，你继续。
OK， 好，咱俩有延迟。
因为对有延迟，很
对
不太容易接。
OK，
make sure we can control them and make sure they
我
can't
们确保我们能控制他们啊
hurt us.
啊，
And
然后他们打不到我们。
if you want to do something about it, step up and help. If not,
如果中国你们想帮助的话，你们就帮助啊。
going to continue.
如
What has
果你不能帮助的话，
he done? He's legitimate.
你们就该干嘛干嘛去啊。但是不
就让
像
开我们
对
来做。
不像
然后
川普
他说川普其实是让这个
对
北朝鲜变成合法化一样。
对啊。
Is North Korea. He's talked about his good buddy who's a thug.
说他的
他
好朋友
说他的好，兄弟事实上是个流氓。
对 OK，
And he talks about how we're better off. And they have much more capable missiles able to reach
我
U.S.
们最好就不要插手，但是现在他们有更大的武器了啊。
territory much more easily than ever did before.
Let me follow up with
然后他们打到我们的可能性比原来更多了啊。OK，
you, Vice President Biden. You've said you wouldn't meet with Kim Jong-un without preconditions. Are there any conditions under which you would meet with him?
你不会跟金三胖见面，除非有事先签好的
一
协
些
议、
预设条件
预设条件啊。OK， 那你说这些预设条件是什么啊 ？OK， 哎，这主持人还问的挺好的啊。OK， 继续啊。
还不错
On。the
OK，
condition that he would agree that he would be drawing down his nuclear capacity.
啊，然后把他的核武
就要
能力
减低他的核武器能力。
对，
Yet the Korean Peninsula should be nuclear-free zone.
啊，那个 KMT 那个叫什么38线那旁边是个是吗？是这个叫什么 nuclear
38
free
线
zone
不，他说就
KMT
是朝鲜半岛就应该要无核化。
啊 OK 无核化啊 OK 好啊。
Let's move on to American
Kristen,
families.
they tried
啊，我们要去这个美国家庭了啊。
to meet
Quickly,
with
10
him.
seconds,
They
President.
tried to meet with him. He wouldn't do it. He didn't like
然后他们想见面啊，北韩想见面，但是拜登那个政府当然没有见面啊。
He didn't like him. He wouldn't do it.
他不喜欢他们啊，然后所以就不见面。OK。他们试过。
And that's okay. You know what? North Korea, we're not in a war. We have a good relationship.
啊，我们没有在战争当中啊，我们有这个叫什么？我们有一个很好的关系现在啊。
You know, people don't understand. Having a good relationship with leaders of other countries is a good thing.
啊，然后跟这个其他的国家的首脑有一个良好的关系是一件好事啊。啊，然后让拜登回复啊。
Relationship with Hitler before he in fact invaded.
然后说英国的那个叫什么？
就好像说我们在这个希特勒侵略之前，我们跟他的关系很不错
啊。对，
一样。
不是，确实我觉得啊，这是我的观点，拜登有点过时了。OK， 然后好像不是一个时候啊，一个情况啊。OK， 继续啊。
Europe, the rest of Europe, come on. The reason he would not meet with President Obama is because President Obama said, we're going to talk about denuclearization. We're not going to legitimize you, and we're going to continue.
啊，我们不会让你合法化啊，我们要讨论去核化，所以说他不要跟他们见面啊。OK。
To put stronger and stronger sanctions on you.
我要制裁更强啊。
That's why he wouldn't meet with us.
为什么他不能见面？
所以今天不跟奥巴马见面。
对啊。
All right,
and it didn't have.
这个事儿好像两边都没说清楚，是吧？然后一边是
对，应该都没那么简单。
对啊 ，OK， 都没那么简单。一边就是我见了面，但是那边做更大的核武器，那边是我不见面，然后同样的问题啊，对吧？然后啊 ，OK 啊，继续啊。
Let's move on and talk about American families. President.
他留给我一团糟啊，就是他们的政府前一届留给我一个烂摊子啊。OK。
Okay, we do need to move on.
They left me a mess. North Korea was a mess.
North Korea was a 烂摊子啊。
In fact, if you remember the first 2 or 3 months, there was a very dangerous period in my first 3 months before.
啊，我任期的前3个月是非常危险的，因为可能有战争啊。
We sort of worked things out a little bit.
然后我们把事情缓解了啊。
They left us a mess.
他们给了我一个烂摊子啊。
Obama would be, I think, the first to say it was the single biggest problem he thought that our country.
Okay, let's move.
奥巴马说这个北韩是奥巴马可能是北韩吗？他说的是最大的问题吗？还是说奥巴马政府是最大的问题啊？
他应该是说奥巴马。
OK， 奥巴马啊 ，All right，OK， 下面下一个啊。
On to American families and the economy. One of the issues that's most
然后 family 跟经济啊
important to them is healthcare, as you both know.
然后谈一下这个
健康保险
啊。
Today there was a key vote on a new Supreme Court Justice, Amy Coney Barrett, and healthcare is at the center of her confirmation fight. Over 20 million Americans get their health insurance through the Affordable Care Act. It's headed to the Supreme Court.
然后就是应该有这个更加可以负担得起的这个保险啊，医疗保险。
Your administration, Mr. President, is advocating for the court to overturn it. If the Supreme
然后他的政府要怎么样？要把它反对吗？那个
要把 Obama Care 要把它 cancel 掉。
哦 ，OK。
现在有2000万美国人是因为Obama Care 得到这个政府的健康保险。
OK。
但是Trump 的政府是要把它给
拿掉啊，
取消。
OK，
对。
Court does overturn that law.
然后这个 call， 然后不允许啊，然后把川普的这个议案给驳回了啊，应该是吧？啊 ，OK， 继续啊。
Those 20 million Americans could lose their health insurance almost overnight. So what would you?
然后这个有2000万人啊，如果这个法案通过的话，2000万人会这个叫一夜之间失去他们的医疗保险啊，
If those people have their health insurance taken away, you have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
你会怎么办？如果那个2000万人这个没有了啊，这个医疗保险啊。
First of all, I've already done something that nobody thought was possible.
我们已经做了不可能的事情啊。
Through the legislature, I terminated the individual mandate.
我们用就是叫什么individual man 叫个人必要的东西才能买这个保险是吧？然后就是
这个也不是太清楚，
啊，这个咱们具体看一下啊。OK。
Worst part of Obamacare, as we call it.
这是最 Obamacare 最差劲的地方啊。
The individual mandate where you have to pay a fortune for the privilege of not having to pay for bad health insurance.
就好像就是说你要配一个叫什么 一个资格是什么？是这个东西吗？
一个 premium， 这个人要是付一个蛮高的 premium，等于是像保险费一样。
对，然后拿一个很坏的保险啊 ，OK， 这是他的比喻啊，然后咱继续，我关了这个啊，没有了。现在在这个法院。
But then I made a decision: run it as well as you can to my people, great people. Run it as well as you can. I could have gone the other route and made everybody very unhappy.
啊，然后我们说那就继续吧，只把这些坏的部分拿掉，然后让它好的部分保留啊。
They ran it. Premiums are down, everything's down.
然后这个 premium 现在下降了啊，然后
Here's the problem: no matter how well you run it, it's no good.
不管你怎么弄它，
让的多好，它还是不好，
它
还是不是一个好保险
啊。OK.
We'd like to do is terminate it. We have the individual mandate done. I don't know that it's going.
然后我们把这个 premium 下降，然后叫individual mandate 确实不知道术语，对，确实不知道术语怎么翻译，就把它关了啊，整个奥巴马关了，然后我们再重开啊，应该是这意思啊。
If we don't win, we will have to run it, and we'll have Obamacare.
如果我们赢不了的话呢，我们继续奥巴马保险啊，
还是必须对，只好继续做这个。
对。
Run, but it no longer is Obamacare because without the individual mandate.
啊，把它最坏的那部分拿掉了以后，这就不应该叫 Obamacare， 因为那个是最坏的地方啊。OK.
It's much different. Pre-existing conditions will always stay.
啊，然后这个以前的那些存在的疾病呢，然后就永远在这个保险里面啊。我想做的是，应该是更好的一个医疗保险方案啊。
Will always protect people with pre-existing. So I'd like to.
我们永远有这些先天病这种疾病啊，就是这个永远保护
先
前的疾病的那些人啊。
Terminate Obamacare, come up with a brand new beautiful healthcare.
啊，然后出了一个美丽的方案，把这个奥巴马菲尔直接扔掉啊。
Democrats will do it because there'll be tremendous pressure on them, and we might even have.
他们不会这样做，因为对他们压力太大了啊。
House by that time, and I think we are going to win the House. Okay, you'll see, but I think we're going to win the House.
我们会这个众议院都会赢得啊。
But come up with a better health care, always protecting people with pre-existing conditions. And one thing very important, we have 180 million people out there
我们有180,000,000人啊
that have great private health care.
有私人的医疗保险啊，私人医疗保险啊。
Far more than we're talking about with Obamacare.
然后比 Obamacare 要好得多啊。
Joe Biden is going to terminate all of those policies.
就拜登要把那些都关掉啊 ，OK。
These are people that love their health care.
然后人们喜欢他们的私人保险啊。
Successful middle-income people.
然后那个中产阶级啊，他们喜欢这样的保险啊。
Been successful. They have 180 million plans. 180 million people.
啊，180,000,000人在享受那个保险啊，然后他要把这个关掉。
Families. Under what he wants to do, which will basically be socialized medicine, he won't even have.
然后有社会主义的医疗方案，
社会主义化的这个医疗保险，
医疗方案啊 ，OK。
They want to terminate 180 million plans.
这个拜登都被他逗笑了，他要把这个关掉啊 ，OK。
We have done an incredible job on healthcare, and we're going to do even better.
Okay.
把麦关了啊，我们会做得更好啊。对对对 ，You watch 啊，你听你看着啊 ，OK， 咱们拜登这边来说啊 ，OK。
Vice President Biden, yes, this is for you. Your healthcare plan calls for building on Obamacare. So my question is, what is your plan if the law is ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
What I'm going to do is pass Obamacare with a public option.
我会继续让这个 Obamacare 这个实行下去，加上一个这个 public
公众选择，
另外一个公共选项啊。
Become Biden care, the public option.
变成 Biden care. Oh my God. OK， 这些人啊 ，All right.
There's an option that says that if you in fact do not have the wherewithal to be, if you qualify for Medicaid and you do not have the wherewithal, then your state to get Medicaid, you automatically are enrolled.
这是什么意思呢？
就是你这个，它这个公共选项好像是说，你要是符合 Medicaid 的话，Medicaid 是应该是给这个贫户，就是低收入的人这个 Medicaid。你要是有符合 Medicaid 的这个条件的话，你就可以直接被这个Biden Care
啊 ，OK， 好，我改成 Biden Care， 什么时候叫习近平 Care 啊 ？OK， 继续，
大致是这样。
All right.
In competition for insurance companies, that's what's going to happen. Secondly.
然后让这个保险公司之间竞争啊，然后要弄啊，要买这个啊，要提供这个是吧？啊 ，OK， 继续啊。
好像是，
We're going to make sure we reduce the premiums and reduce drug prices by
减低这个药的价钱，减低保险费。
sure that there's competition that doesn't exist now by allowing the Medicare to negotiate drug prices with the insurance companies.
这样的医疗保险可以跟这个药厂来讨价还价。
对对对，这个地方我确实不相信啊，这个医疗保险一直没降下来，这个价格啊，这个是古巴和加拿大好多倍啊，好像是吧啊。OK 啊，继续啊。
The idea that I want to eliminate private insurance, the reason why I had such a fight for
之所以说我要消灭这个私人保险、私人医疗保险，是因为这样。请继续。
With 20 candidates for the nomination was I support private insurance. That's why I didn't. Not one single person with private insurance would lose their insurance under my plan, nor did they under Obamacare. They did not lose their insurance.
这是之前啊，他说之前那一集啊。
我没 I didn't catch it. Why don't you?
我觉得是他要说这个，当时在 Obamacare 的时候，没有一个人放弃，他们就是失去了他们的 private care 啊。然后是这个事情，当时在任期的时候有20 nominations 啊，然后咱们再听一下啊。
Unless they chose，
就是那20个民主党的20个这个一开始那20个候选人吗？
对对啊，应该是这个意思。咱们再听一下啊，我这个也不太清楚他说的啊。
Something else. Lastly, we're going to make sure we're in a situation that we actually protect pre-existing. There's no way he can protect pre-existing conditions.
啊，然后我们要继续保护这些有先天性疾病的这些人啊。这时候他说他的川普的这个方案根本就保护不了啊。
Zero. You can't do it in the ether. He's been.
他们不能在 ether 做啊。OK 。这俩人好像怎么都在说空话的啊。OK 啊。
Talking about this for a long time. He's never come up with a plan. I guess
他永远没有计划啊。
We're going to get the pre-existing condition plan the same time we get the infrastructure plan.
然后我们这个叫什么基础建设这个计划也没有啊。
pre-existing
对，
其实都是难题了
啊。对对对，对对对啊。
Been waiting since 17, 18, 19, and 20. The fact I still
然后从17年就开始等了，等了4年啊。
A few more minutes. I know you're getting anxious.
啊，然后你看，哎，这个拜登还跟主持人调情啊，然后我觉得你变得焦虑了，
有点紧张了。
对对对，再过一点时间啊 ，OK。
The fact is that he's already cost the American people because of his terrible handling of the COVID virus and the economic spillover.
啊，已经对这个疫情处理得很烂了啊，然后有1000万的人已经这个有 spillover 感染啊 ，OK。
10 million people have lost their private insurance.
啊，然后已经
1000万人损失已经没有了，因为这失业吧，就没有了自己的保险。
对对对啊。
Wants to take away 22 million more people who have it under Obamacare and over.
然后他想把这个
还要再把2500万人从 Obamacare
拿走啊，
删除掉。
OK。
110 million people with pre-existing conditions and all.
还有1000万人是有先天性疾病的啊。
All the people from COVID are going to have pre-existing conditions. What are
然后所有
得过这个
对
COVID-19 的都是算是有 pre-condition
啊。
They going to do?
I have a follow-up.
然后他能怎么做啊 ？OK。哎，非常好啊，这个地方反击的还比较有力啊。OK， 还算是比较有竞争啊。OK， 继续啊。
You, Vice President Biden, it relates to something that President Trump said. He's accusing you of wanting socialized medicine. What do you?
啊，他说你是社会主义的这个制度啊，医疗制度啊，你怎么说？
The people who have concerns that your health care plan, which includes a government insurance option, takes the country one step closer to a health care system run entirely by the government. What's
啊，然后你怎么保证这个不会让所有的医疗方案都变成政府经营的啊医疗保险啊？你看美国民主制度啊 ，OK， 继续啊，咱们看今天讲了三权分立啊，咱们继续听啊。
It's ridiculous. It's like saying that, you know.
这是很可笑的一个指控啊。
We're the idea that the fact that there's a public option that people can choose.
啊，然后我就是想加一个公共的这个条件，然后这就成了社会主义方案了，
变成社会主义。
Plan. Look, the difference between the president, I think, healthcare is not a privilege; it's a right.
OK， 我跟他的不同就是
不是特权，
不是特
权利，
是一个权利啊。
Everyone should have the right to have affordable healthcare.
每个人都应该可以有这个可以负担的医疗保险。
And I am very proud of my plan. It's gotten endorsed by all the major labor unions as well as
我对我的这个计划非常自豪，因为所有的劳动工会等等都支持。
whole range of other people who in fact are concerned in the medical field. This is something that's going to save people's lives, and this is going to give some people an opportunity.
这是会救命的，然后也省钱的一个方案。
对。
Need to have health care for their children. How many of you home are worried and rolling around in bed tonight wondering what in God's name you're going to do?
有多少人今天辗转反侧睡不着觉，不知道这个没有医疗保险生病怎么办
？Because you've lost your home insurance, your health insurance, your company's gone under.
啊，对你失业了啊，是吧？啊，然后就是没有这个没有医疗保险，
公司倒闭的话你怎么办？
对
，provide health insurance for people at an affordable rate, and that's what I do.
啊，然后我要给大家这个更能买得起的医疗保险啊。OK， 好啊，咱们看看川普这边啊。
President Trump
又开始了。OK。47年啊，47年他的从政过程中啊。
He was now there as vice president for 8 years, and it's not.
然后他当副总统8年啊。
Like it was 25 years ago. It was
5年前。
3/4. It was just a little while ago, right? Less than 4 years ago. He didn't do anything.
什么也没做过啊。
He didn't do it. He wants socialized medicine, and it's not that.
他要社会主义的医疗方案啊。
He wants it. His vice president.
啊，他当时是副总统啊。
She is more liberal than Bernie Sanders and wants it even more.
啊，那个女的叫什么？
她比 Bernie Sanders 还要在
还要社会主义啊。
Bernie Sanders wants it. The Democrats want it. You're going to have socialized medicine, just like he went with fracking. We're not going to have fracking. We're going to stop fracking. We're going to stop fracking. Then he goes to Pennsylvania.
裂解原油
啊。OK 啊，然后
不要用 fracking 采油
啊。OK， 就跟当时的例子是一样的。他承诺你这个你不会有这个，但是你还是在用这个。
后来
对
是的
啊。OK。
He gets a nomination where he got very lucky to get it, and he goes to Pennsylvania.
他自己把他都给逗笑了，然后还得到了提名，得到了什么奖啊 ？OK， 然后去了
就是宾州的这个候选人资格
啊。OK 啊，好啊。
And he says, "Oh, we're going to have fracking." And you never asked that question.
我们要用 fracking 来采油
啊。OK。
By the way, so far I respect very much the way you're handling this.
哎，他也开始了，哎呀，8届主持人了啊，这位女士还挺厉害的。你看，女性的力量是挺厉害的，这让我想起了我们芊啊，然后总统都要巴结她，那个 Chris Wallace 就给你打到底啊，然后这里就还挺好玩的啊。OK， 我非常欣赏你的处事方式啊。OK， 哎，这两个老头啊，挺好。
By the way,
but somebody should ask the question.
You can ask.
He goes for a year. There will be no fracking.
We do have a number of. We have a number.
啊 ，OK， 他在那个在位这么长时间，根本就没有在处理这些事情啊。OK， 挺好玩的 Patrick 啊，这次啊 ，OK， 咱们继续听一下啊。OK，
上次好多
啊。哎 ，Sorry Patrick 啊，我刚才在看留言。
没事，请继续。
啊，好的啊。
That's a big question.
We're going to get to.
It's the same thing with socialized
I have to
medicine.
respond.
Vice President, your response, please.
My response is people deserve to have affordable health care. Period.
然后人们应该有一个更能买得起的一个医疗保险啊。但是问题是，这个拜登，你当时奥巴马 care 买不起吗？对不对？这不是也是你们弄的吗？是不是啊？现在也没改什么呀，对吧 ，Patrick？
呀，这个 Obamacare 这我倒不是很清楚，
对，我也没用过。OK 啊，咱们继续啊。All right.
Period. And the Biden care proposal will, in fact, provide for that affordable health care.
Biden care 将会改变这种情况，
就会提出这个提供给大家这个可以负担得起的医疗保险。
对啊。
Premiums. What we're going to do is going to cost some money. It's going to cost over $750 billion over 10 years to do it. And
在10年之内要有7500亿，需要花7500亿10年啊来做这个事情，还是要花钱。
OK。
You're going to have lower premiums. You can buy into the better plans, the cheaper plans, lower your premiums, deal with unexpected billing, and have your drug prices drop significantly.
然后把这些都反正把价格都拉低吧，就是这么回事啊。OK， 咱们就不去提
降低，然后就选择比较多，然后药也比较便宜，然后这个大家比较放心。
OK。Patrick， 我们应该还有20分钟就会结束，因为他们已经结束10分钟了啊，我们有点延迟，我们应该20分钟啊。OK。
Talking about it. a thing for anybody on healthcare. Not a thing.
他也没做过什么事情啊。
Very quickly, then I want to talk about what's happening on Capitol Hill.
当他说这个公共这个选项的时候啊，他在说这个社会主义医疗、古巴医疗，
咬着这个不放。
对，这个社会主义还不是中国那个社会主义医疗，这是古巴的啊，大家这个概念要有啊。OK。
He and healthcare. When he talks about a public option, he's talking about destroying your Medicare.
然后这个叫什么？destroy your Medicare，
毁掉你的 Medicare 就是
私人
老人家跟这个
OK
Medicare 跟 Medicaid 的，一个是老人家的，一个是这个低收入户的
啊。OK 啊。
Totally destroyed and destroying your Social Security and this.
然后这个
社会保险
也会
被毁掉。
OK。
Whole country will come down. You know, Bernie Sanders tried it in his state. He tried it in his state. His governor was a very liberal governor. They want to make it work.
Bernie Sanders 是哪个州的？然后他试了，在他那个州啊，然后他说
那个州里，他的州长也是个很自由派的，
对，很左派的啊。OK。
Let's let Vice President Biden.
然后完全不可能实现啊。
Vice
President Biden.
然后不会有效果的。
Confused guy. He thinks he's running against somebody else. He's running against Joe Biden. I beat all those other people because I disagreed with them.
他说他是有幻想的人。
我是 Joe Biden， 我不是 Sanders， 因为他们都被我打败。
对啊 ，OK。
Joe Biden he's running against, and the idea that we're in a situation that they're going to destroy Medicare. This is the guy that the actuary at Medicare said, if in fact at Social Security, if in fact he continues to withhold his plan to withhold the tax on Social Security, Social Security will be bankrupt by 2023.
OK， 如果
他现在在说这个社会保险，但是这个社会保险的这个会计师、这个计算师是说，照他这种做法的话，到2023年社会保险就会社保就会破产
啊。OK 啊，好。
With no way to make up for it. This is the guy who's tried to cut Medicare.
没有办法，数字都不拢，是回不来的。
OK。
I mean, the idea that Donald Trump is lecturing me on Social Security and Medicare.
他来跟我演讲，来跟我说教
我啊，
说这个说教我这个讲这个社会保险社会主义医疗制度，这个可笑的事情。
对。
Come on.
He tried to get rid of. He tried to.
然后你有10秒钟啊。
Hurt Social Security years ago.
他想把这个社会保险系统完全都拿掉啊，很多年前。
Go back and look at the records.
然后回去看一下记录，大家。
Tried to hurt Social Security years ago.
All right, let's move on. I'm going to move on. Mr. President, I have to move on to the next question.
They said the stock market will boom if I'm elected. If he's elected, the stock market will crash.
如果他被选上了，这个股票市场就完蛋了啊 ！OK， 就会 crash。OK，
这个川普需要说这句吗？真是，
我不知道啊。然后他俩都反正在互相打，就 if 什么啊。然后这个咱们得看了，没法判断啊，这个事情啊，确实没法判断。对啊，都是难题啊。继续啊。
Let's move on to the next question very quickly.
Look. The idea that the stock market is booming is his only measure of what's happening.
啊，他只拿这个股市的这个增长来看这个好坏啊。
他的成绩
对啊。
Claim on that people don't live off of the stock market.
啊，我的计划是
大部分的人是不是靠这个股票市场过日子的？
对啊 ，OK。
Just in the last three years during this crisis, the billionaires in this country made, according to the Wall Street, $700
过去3年来，亿万富
billion
翁们他们
700，
华尔街说
7000亿美元啊，这个多挣了7000亿美元啊，华尔街的。
$700 billion more dollars, because that's his only measure.
啊，这是他唯一的这个评判方式啊。
What happens to the ordinary people on?
然后那平常人怎么办？
What happens to them?
啊，平常人怎么办啊
401k
啊，然后这个叫报税表嘛，是吧？啊
，401k 是一般人的这个退休基金，有工作的人可以存的退休基金。
对啊 ，OK， 这地方我就不明白，关贵不是说退休基金在中国的吗？不是都亏得不行了吗？啊，然后咱们继续啊。
这两码事，回头可以再讨论一下。
OK， 好啊 ，All right.
Through the roof, and he doesn't come from Scranton. That's like he lived there for a short period of time before he even knew.
他
不是他不是像他说的从一个小镇来的。 他在那边只住了短短一段时间，事实上他一直说拜登其实也是靠华尔街。
对啊，然后这俩人都在揭老底呢，发现，然后
对啊，这个大家都要有这个形象，说自己是小镇来的，农场来的，这个小布什也是嘛，他在德州的农场，事实上他也不是德州土生土长的这种牛仔出身人，
对，
但是他就是要有这个形象。
OK， 唯一川普可能就知道他家里是干嘛的，是吧？然后 born rich， 然后在纽约啊，然后对吧？然后 OK 啊，继续啊，
他装不了牛仔，他装不了农夫。
对，好啊，咱们继续啊。
We're going to move on to the next question.
And the people of Pennsylvania
Let me
will
move
show
on
you
to my
that.
next question,
They
gentlemen.
understand.
As of tonight, more than 12 million people are out of work, and as of
今天就是
1200万人已经
失业了啊。
tonight, 8 million more Americans have fallen into poverty, and more
然后有800万人继续要进入贫穷，
掉入贫穷线以下。
OK。
families are going hungry every day. Those hit hardest are women and people of color. They see
然后是蓝领吧
少数族裔
少数族裔
跟这个女性这个受害是最严重。
OK。
Washington fighting over a relief bill. Mr. President, why haven't you been able
华
to
盛
get
顿
them to help?
还在为这个救援的这个法案在争执。
OK。
Need 30 seconds here.
Because
你有30秒钟啊 OK。
Nancy Pelosi doesn't want to approve it. I do.
But you're the
Nancy Pelosi 不愿意批准他，但是我想
president.
I do, but I still have to get. Unfortunately, that's one of the reasons I think we're going to take over the House because of her.
对，然后 Nancy Pelosi 他们不批准这就所以说我们为什么要把众议院也拿下
Nancy Pelosi doesn't want to approve anything because
Nancy Pelosi 就是什么也不批
she'd love to have some victories on a date called November 3rd.
然后他想这个11月
希望这个选举日他会
胜利就是民主党会胜利
Nancy Pelosi does not want to approve it. We are ready, willing, and able to do something. Don't forget, we've already approved 3 plans.
我们已经批准了3个计划
It's gone through, including the Democrats. In all fairness, this one she doesn't want. It's near the
这个他不愿意，
最后这个接近选举日的他就卡住，
对，
签字。
对
election because she thinks it helps her politically. I think it hurts her politically.
他觉得这个政治上会帮助他，但是实际上我觉得是会伤害他的政治利益OK， 好。
Mr. Vice President,
the Republican leader in the United States Senate said he can't pass it.
这个是共和党的 leader 说不能通过
He will not be able to pass it.
他们不能通过。
He does not have Republican votes.
他
Why
没有这个 Republican 的选票
is he talking to his
So
Republican friends?
let me follow.
他为什么不给这个 Republican 这个他的朋友来说一下，来推进这个法案OK 这个 Patrick 下边你进行一下，我得稍微离开一下行吗？
好，我尽量，你就别停
好的OK。
Up with you, Vice President
we made a deal,
Biden,
the
because
Republicans
let me
will
ask
pass
Vice President Biden a question. You are the leader of the Democratic Party. Why have you not pushed the Democrats to get a deal
为
for
什
the
么你没有
American
推
people?
让
I
民主
have,
党
and they
来
have
把
pushed
这
it. Look,
个
they
就是
passed
研究
this
法案
act
给推
all
过
the
去
way？ back in the beginning of the summer. This is like it's
我
not
们
new.
夏
It's
天
been
开
out
始就应该
there.
做了。
This HEROES Act has been sitting there. And look at what's happening. When I was in charge of the Recovery Act with $800 billion, I was able to get $145 billion to local communities that have to balance their budgets and states that have to balance their budgets. So then
我已
have to
经推
fire
过很多
they
这个
have
援
to
助法
fire
案，
firefighters, teachers, first responders, law enforcement
给这
officers,
个
so they can keep their cities and
警
counties
察、军
running.
警、
He will not
救火
support
员、
that.
老
They
师
have not done a thing for them. And Mitch
共
McConnell
和
said,
党
let
什么
them
都没
go
做。
bankrupt. Let them go bankrupt. Come on. What's the matter
The
with
bill
these
that was
guys?
passed in the House was a bailout of badly run, high crime, Democrat, all run by Democrats, cities and states. It was a way of getting a lot
民
of
主
money,
党通过
billions
的
and
这个援助法案
billions
都
of
是
dollars
就
to these
在
kids.
在
It
援
was
救这
also
个
a way of getting a
经
lot
营的
of
不
money
好的民主
from
党州
our
跟民主
people's
党城市，
pockets to people that come into our country illegally. We
还甚至去援助这个非法来到我们国家的人。
to take care of everything for them. And what that does, and I'd love to do that, I'd love to help them, but what that does, everybody all
我也
over
愿
the
意帮
world
他
will
们，但是
start pouring into our country. We can't do it. This was a way of
我们
taking
没有
care
办法
of
把
them.
所有非
This
法
was a
进
way
来
of
的人都帮助到。
spending on things that had nothing to do with COVID, as per your question. But
然后这些很多钱花在根本跟这个疫情完全没关系的事情项目上面。
it was really a big bailout for badly run Democrat cities and states.
All right, I want
这是对这个当时他们这个民主党的这些州的这些东西
经营失败的民主党城市跟民主党州的一个这个援助
啊。
If I get elected, I'm running as a proud Democrat, but I'm going to be an American president. I don't.
我不会是作为一个自豪。
我要是当选，我不会是当一个自豪的民主党人，我是一个美国总统。
Red states and blue states. What I see is American, United States. And folks, every single state out there finds themselves in trouble. They're going to start laying off, whether they're red or blue.
每一州都是有问题，都遇到困难。
对，都开始解雇员工啊。
Cops, firefighters, first responders, because teachers,
警察、救火队，这个。
对，
老师都受到很大的困难。
Have to balance their budget, and the founders were smart. They allowed the federal government to deficit spend to compensate for the United States of America.
我们的国父们很聪明，让我们的这个联邦政府有这个能力去帮助地方政府去这个平衡这个赤字或预算。
好像要变社会主义啊，然后 OK 继续啊，
本来就是一个 balance。
对啊 OK。
Let's talk about the minimum wage, gentlemen. Mr. Vice President.
我们看看最低收入啊。
We are talking a lot about struggling small businesses and business owners these days.
啊，我们小生意者和这个小生意的所有人啊。
Do you think this is the right time to ask them to raise the minimum wage? You of course support a $15 federal minimum wage.
这你觉得是合适的时间让他们提高最低工资吗？
Do because I think one of the
每小时15元，
每小时15，好像比严厉梦挣的稍微这低一点点啊，在香港真的。OK， 咱们就联系一下啊 OK， 然后 OK， 他说我现在觉得是合适的时候啊。我们以后也要救赎他们啊 OK。
We should be bailing them out now.
我们需要把他们救赎到现在就开始要那个叫什么 bail out 就资助他们啊 OK。
Those small businesses, you got 1 in 6 of them going under.
啊，一个
6里面有一个要倒闭
啊。
Going to be able to make it back.
啊，然后他们回不来了啊，那个倒闭的。
Passed a package that allows us to be able to call PPP. Money is supposed to go to help them do everything from organize how they can deal with their businesses being open safely. School
应该给他们这个个人保护措施啊，包括学校怎么好像又回去了啊？然后让他们把这个生意开起来啊。OK。
How they can make classrooms smaller, how they can hire more teachers, how they can
他们能那个叫什么雇更多的老师，
班级人数变
少，
然后可以雇更多的老师，小一点的班级，让他们可以学校可以安全的开放。
对啊。
Put ventilation systems in. They need the help.
他们需要帮助啊，
他们需要学校需要这个更好的一个通风设备、过滤设备等等。
Businesses as well as the schools need the help, but these guys will not help them.
啊，这个人他不想帮助他们啊。
Not giving them any of the money.
这跟他们 minimum wage 有什么关系呢？这个我不明白啊。
我有点转过去了
啊，对吧？啊，又给带走了，老是不回答问题啊。OK， 啊。
Move on to immigration, but I want to get your reaction.
Small businesses by raising the minimum wage.
对啊 ，Trump 很 sharp 啊，他说怎么会那个增加这个叫什么啊最基本收入来
增加最低薪资，怎么会帮得了这个小 business？
对啊 ，OK，
小生意。
I think it should be a state option.
我觉得这应该是个州的问题啊，
各州自己决定。
对啊。
阿拉巴马的这个时薪跟纽约绝对不可能一样。
应该是 state option， 应该是各州自己解决的问题啊。
It's very important. We have to help our small businesses. How are you helping your small businesses when you're forcing wages? What's going to happen and what's been proven?
你怎么解决这个问题？然后把工资提高啊，然后这个是怎么解决这个问题的啊？
To happen is when you do that, these small businesses fire many of their employees.
然后你提高了这个工资，他们就会解雇更多的人，
只好解雇一些人
啊。OK。
You said very recently you would consider raising the federal minimum wage to $15.
最近你曾经说你会考虑把联邦最低薪资升到每小时15元。他问总统。
You said recently you would consider raising the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. Is that still the case?
And I would consider it. To an extent, but what I really
我会在一方面考虑它啊，在一个范围内考虑它。
What I in a second administration, but not to a level that's going to put all these businesses out of business.
啊，不会让他们所有人都失业啊，然后让他们这个都关门。
State option. Look, I lived in different places. I know different places. They're all different.
他们都不同，每个州都不同啊。
Some places $15 is not so bad.
是有些地方$15挺好的啊，然后
In other places, other states, $15 would be
Okay, President Trump, thank you.
$15是没有人啊 ，OK， 没有人愿意干的活啊 ，ruins 啊，就是什么都不值的啊，眼里梦啊 ，OK， 这个咱们看看这个拜登啊，然后这怎么回答的啊 ，OK。Quick
response, Vice President Biden.
2 jobs, 1 job, be below poverty.
怎么没有人就是什么啊？
就2个 job， 一个 job 是在这个贫穷线之下，一个
是OK，明白了啊 ，OK， 他们就是贫穷也是一个工作啊，一个工作是这意思啊 ，OK， 也是你2个工作之一啊，另一个是
我没完全听清楚，继续
OK。
People are making $6, $7, $8 an hour. These first responders we all clap for as they come down the street.
那些 first aiders 啊，他们7-8美元1小时，我们都给他们鼓掌。
Because they've allowed us to make it.
然后他们在帮助我们啊。
They deserve a minimum wage of 50.
他们需要$15一个最基本的收入啊。
很多这种警消之类，他们这个收入事实上是蛮低的
啊，确实啊 ，OK。
$15. Anything below that puts you below the poverty level.
啊，然后低于$15的话，你就在贫困线上，
你就几乎在贫穷线以下了。
对。
There is no evidence that when you raise the minimum wage, businesses go out of business.
然后没有证据表明你增加了工资，那个 business 就会破产啊。
That is simply not true.
这不是真的啊。
Immigration. We're going to talk about immigration now, gentlemen.
我们看看移民的问题啊。
And we're going to talk about families within this context. Mr. President, your administration separated children from their parents at the border. At least 4,000 kids.
有4000个小孩在这个边境，主要是美墨边境，这个非法移民的家庭把大人跟小孩给分开了。
Since reversed your zero tolerance policy, but the United States can't locate the parents of more than 500 children. So
有500个小孩，他们的父母亲，这个美国政府都找不到。
How will these families ever be reunited?
他们这个家庭怎么会再团聚啊
Children are brought here by coyotes and lots of bad people,
被这些人蛇给带过来。
被还有 cartel 啊，贩毒组织啊。
And they're brought here, and they used to use them to get into our country.
他们利用小孩来进入我们的国家啊。
We now have as strong a border as we've ever had.
我们的这个边境防护措施现在是最强的。
Over 400 miles of brand new wall.
我们有400 miles 400英里的
400英里
的新的墙，
新建的围墙啊。
You see the numbers, and we let people in, but they have to come in legally, and they come in.
啊，
我们让他们进来，但是必须合法进来。
对啊。
But how will you reunite these kids with their families?
你如何把这些小孩跟他们的家人复合起来，团聚起来
You know, they used to say, "I built the cages," and then they had.
他们说我建了个笼子啊，说 OK。
Picture in a certain newspaper. And it was a picture of these horrible cages. And they said, look at these cages. President Trump built them. And then it was determined they were built in 2014.
就有些照片说我这边盖了这些关人的笼子，结果后来才知道这些照片是2014年的时候。
对，是他们建的，拜登这帮人建的。OK 啊 ，OK， 继续。
这里也是他也没有认真回答。
对，确实挺难回答的这个问题，因为你不知道什么原因是 separate， 这小孩是来的时候就是 separate， 还是利用的，对吧？然后挺不容易啊，当个政客啊。OK。
That was him.
Do you have a plan to reunite the kids?
Yes.
啊，然后你看，然后你有这个计划？
记者
对。一直在追问啊。
Working on it we're
trying. 我们在尝试啊。
Very hard, but
我们在很大努力的尝试。
These kids come out without the parents. They come out.
他们来的时候就没有。
来的时候，甚至父母亲就没有跟他们在一起。
对，
就单单小孩子被送过来。
对，我发现这个川普跟我想的差不多，是吧 ？OK， 咱们继续啊。All right.
But through cartels and through coyotes and through gangs.
Vice President Biden, let me.
他们来的时候就是好像就被利用的工具啊。
被这个人蛇，这个。毒品集团带过来的。
对啊 ，OK， 继续啊。
You into this conversation. Quick response, and then another question to you.
These 500 plus kids came with parents.
他们来的时候是有父母的啊。
这500个是跟父母进来的
啊。
Separated them at the border to make it a disincentive to come to begin with.
他们把他们从这个分开啊，从这个 border 上
家的父母跟小孩子分开，让这个墨西哥那边人会比较不乐意，不想过来。
对啊。
Real tough. We're really strong. And guess what? They cannot. It's not coyotes didn't bring them.
我们要更强硬一点，不是这个 coyote， 不是人蛇把他们带进来的啊。
Their parents.
他的父母把他们带过来的啊。
They got separated from their parents, and it makes us a laughing stock and violates every notion of who we are as a nation.
OK， 他们让我们变成了一个笑柄，
没面子。
对，变成了一个所有的笑柄啊，
让我们变得很丢脸。
Kristen, they did it. We changed the policy.
啊，然后不听啊，然后他们这样做的，我们改变了，对，我们改变了啊。
They did it. We changed. They built the cages. Who built the cages?
谁盖了笼子啊？开始了。
谁盖了笼子？我们没有把小孩跟父母亲分开
啊。OK， 继续啊。
Let's talk about who built the cages. Let's talk about what we're talking about. What happened? Parents were ripped. Their kids were ripped from their arms and separated.
啊，然后这是什么意思啊 ？Cages, parents are ripped.
他是说这个是就是在边界上，这个小孩子被从父母亲的怀抱里给夺走
啊。OK。
And now they cannot find
现在他们没办法。
Sets of those parents and those kids are alone.
这个拜登啊，有点假哎啊。然后你觉得他真关心这些事情吗？啊，然后我觉得有点假啊，这个拜登啊。但是这是我的观点啊，那个你不一定赞同啊。我觉得这个一个老头子了，然后
他就咬到一个地方可以咬的地方嘛，
对啊，
继续攻击。
OK， 对。
Nowhere to go.
啊
，Nowhere to go.
不知道去哪儿。
Oh, it's criminal.
啊，是犯罪啊
！It's criminal.
Let me ask you about immigration.
这好像站着一个道德高位，是不是啊？然后就开始 pounding 这个问题啊。OK， 咱们继续看啊。
We brought reporters, everything. They are so well taken care of.
啊，他们被照顾得很好啊。
Facilities that were so clean.
But some of them haven't been.
然后他们住的地方这么干净啊。OK。
But just ask one question. Who built the cages?
谁建了那些笼子？
那个笼子谁盖
？2014年啊 ，OK。
To ask him that. Who built the cages?
Let me ask about your immigration policy, Mr. Vice President. The Obama administration did fail to deliver immigration reform, which had been a key promise during the administration. It also presided over record deportations as well as family detentions at the border before changing course.
奥巴马当时当选的时候说是要把这移民政策要提出来，但是8年来一直没做到。
对。
然后这个在奥巴马当的时候呢，这个这驱离出境的这个人数确实也是创纪录的高。
OK。
Why should voters trust you with an immigration overhaul now?
那为什么我们要相信你可以做得更好
？OK。
Made a mistake. It took too long to get it.
啊，我们犯了一个错误啊，花了太多时间。
Took too long to get it right. I'll be president of the United States, not vice president of the United States.
啊，然后又赖奥巴马了。
对，我会当总统，不是副总统。
OK，
意思是奥巴马躺枪。
对啊，我发现啊，真的是为了达目的不择手段，哎，这些政客，对不对啊？
Throw everybody under the bus。
对，反正就是不是我啊，然后我要当就更好啊。OK， 挺好的，咱们看看啊。
And the fact is, I've made it very clear. Within 100 days, I'm going to send to the United States Congress a pathway to citizenship for over 11 million undocumented people.
啊，我会
1100万这个没有非法移民，我在100天之内我就要让这个送个法案给国会，让他们能够有一个快速途径，能够顺利取得一个正式身份。
OK， 这个地方就涉及到老郭了，咱就不得不说了，这些上街抗议的小蚂蚁，你们这个时候对吧？你想想，你老郭是怎么跟你们说的啊 ？OK 啊，咱们看，因为川普那边还没回答，回答完了
这100天，
对，怎么再说啊 ？OK， 继续啊。
All of those so-called dreamers, those DACA kids, they're going to be immediately certified again to be able to stay in this country.
啊，所有那些就是
这些小孩子很多是就是说，因为是在美国出生的，或者说很小就过来，一直没有正式身份，然后就一直在那边长大的，所以这些孩子被叫做 dreamer
啊。OK， 但这些人应该没有投啊。肯定没有了啊！但是后他们的养父
没有投票权。
对，哎，他为什么这样说？
不是公民，没有。
OK， 继续啊。
Put on a path to citizenship. The idea that they are being sent home by this guy, and they want to do that, is they've gone to a country they've never seen before. I can imagine you're 5 years old.
把这些小孩子、年轻人送回他们的出生国，事实上不合理，因为他们那些国家，比如说墨西哥，他们根本从来没见过。你送他们去墨西哥来做什么？因为他们根本事实上是美国人。
对对啊。
Your parents are taking you across the Rio Grande River, and it's illegal.
然后你父母把你们带过来，这虽然是违法的啊 ，OK。
Oh no, Mom, leave me here. I'm not going to go with you.
爸妈你们走吧，我才不会走啊。
Here, many of them are model citizens. Over 20,000 of them are first responders out there taking care of people during this crisis.
然后有
2万多这个医疗人员，事实上他们都是这样子的身份的人。
We owe them.
我们欠他们一个，这个地方还挺符合人体的这个不是人的逻辑的人性的啊。
Owe them.
Kristen, he had 8 years to do what he said he was going to do.
他们当年有8年的时间，
你们有8年可以做这个事，怎么都没做
啊。
And I've changed without having a specific. We got rid of catch and release. We got rid of a lot of horrible things.
我们这个叫什么？取消了这个抓住就放啊这种政策，是不是？
这其实是钓鱼的一个词。
OK，
钓到就放，钓到
就放，然后领人头费啊。OK， 然后这个啊，然后我们取消了这个啊。
Put in and that they lived with, but he had 8 years. He was vice president. He did nothing.
他什么也没做8年啊
，except build cages.
然后除了建笼子，什么也没做。OK。
Vice President Biden, your response.
The catch and release. You know what he's talking about there?
你知道他在说什么吗？那个抓住就放啊。
If in fact you had a family.
如果你有一个这个家庭
，cross and they were arrested.
然后你的家庭被抓了。
They in fact were given a date to show up for their hearing.
然后他们有1天的时间来上诉，就是出庭啊。
Released.
出庭。
And guess what? They showed up.
然后他们会来啊。
Hearing. This is the first president in the history of the United States of America that anybody seeking asylum has to do it in another country. That's never happened before in America.
然后这是什么意思？是在
他说川普是说你要来寻求庇护，你必须回到自己国家寻求庇护。他说这个拜登是说哪有这种事情？你要寻求庇护，你还到你自己国家去寻求庇护，那怎么有可能通过？他是从这个角度去看。那你要寻求庇护，你当然是先跑到美国，在这边跟美国寻求庇护嘛。是吧？这些难民，不管是经济难民或者是政治难民，大部分现在是这样，先想办法，无论如何先跑到美国，然后寻求庇护，想办法待下来。
OK。
然后这个拜登是说，川普现在的做法是说你要寻求庇护，可以，你先回去，你到那边再填表申请排队这样子。然后他说这个是不合
逻辑、
不合人性或不合理这样。
这个地方我就支持一下川普，那光棍先送过去再来不行吗？然后可以继续。
这我倒也是。
OK， 继续啊 ，All right.
That's never happened before in America. You come to the United States and you make your case that I seek asylum based on the following premise: why I deserve it under American law. They're sitting in squalor on the other side of the river.
就是那边我不能再回去再去申请了，因为这就是为什么我来美国的原因啊。OK。
对，
这就是好多人利用这个东西，我觉得应该是 tough 一点，是吧？然后这个
是美国的这个理想是没有错了，是这样的，但是被太多人滥用。
对呀，就是这你说路德什么的，你先送回去啊，然后再填表等一下是吧？然后再说嘛让他在那边做 YouTube 看看还能不能做嘛，对吧？整天说这假新闻啊。OK， 咱们继续啊。OK。
So important. It just shows that he has no understanding of immigration.
他根本就不明白是怎么回事。Catch and release 是个错误的啊。
Murderer would come in.
然后杀人犯会来，
谋杀犯、罪犯什么都跑来。
A very bad person would come in.
对。
We would take their name. We have to release them into our country.
我们把他们放到我自己的国家来，
放在我们国家，根本就是。
你说他们会来的话
Then 1% of the people come back. We have to send
1%的人会回来回来上庭，
回来出庭。
And Border Patrol out to find them. We would say, come back in 2 years, 3 years. We're going to give you a court case. You need Perry Mason. We're going to give you a court case. When you say they come back, they don't come back,
他
Joe.
根本也不会回来上庭啊。
They never come back. Only the really, I hate to say this,
傻子才会回来，就这意思啊。OK，
but those with the lowest IQ, they might come back.
Okay, President
Very,
Trump, let's
very
give Vice
serious.
President Biden a chance to respond, and then we're going to move on to the
You
next
don't know the law,
section.
Joe.
OK， 然后你再回答一下，我们进入下一个了啊。
Vice President Biden, your response.
Know the law, what he's telling you is simply not true.
啊，他说的不对啊，但是我觉得川普是说对，哪有人会回来上庭，对不对啊？我觉得不太可能的啊，要我也不会回来嘛，对吧？啊 ，OK， 咱们继续啊。
They don't come back.
Check it out.
哎，大家去查查吧啊，这个地方我觉得川普赢了一分啊。OK， 继续啊。
Let's move
But we
on
don't have
to
to
the
worry
next
about it because they
section.
terminated it, so we don't have to worry about it.
Let's
啊，
move
现在不会有这个事情了啊。OK，
on to the next
And you have
section.
525 kids not knowing where in God's name they're going to be and lost their parents.
All right.
这俩没完啊。然后这500人找不到，500个小孩找不到父母啊。OK， 这反正都有错和对，但是我觉得这个地方 Trump 赢了一分啊。OK，
Let's talk about our next section, which is race in America. And I want
哎，我建议咱们跳过吧这个，然后咱们直接看最后那个 Homeline 行吗？那个 security 啊 ，OK， 因为时间太长了啊，咱们直接跳过。哎，这里还有评论啊 ，OK， 咱们直接跳过这里吧啊 ，OK， 好啊，谢谢大家啊，因为关于 racism 呢，我们也不太明白啊，咱们就也不太关心。当然，大家再去继续看录播啊，咱们看一下啊 ，OK，Patrick 累吗？你要不要休息一下？
我还好
啊 ，OK。咱们要不要休息一下？休息2分钟吧，然后咱们再
可以啊，
行吧？
好，给我2分钟，我去倒个水。
好，那我就再给大家放个歌啊，然后这个别看不起厨子啊，我们也休息一下啊，谢谢大家的陪伴，我们马上回来，
一会儿见
啊。
我妈从小就告诉我不要再当厨子，她说这年代不再可能吃不饱肚子。那我问她，你说成功到底什么样子？她摸着肚子说，想要威风就当条子，做警察这么危险还得要有胆子。她说你还不明白，你这个傻小子，等你穿上警服就有钱有马子，在这个县城当条子都不用用脑子。我努力锻炼身体，因为是个胖子，希望长高点还要显示出我的条子。可惜警校体能差2分，我爸也没有路子，找个工作在城管食堂还是当厨子，每天伺候小炒给领导和他妈子，他们毛病太多，还经常给我甩脸子。我点头还要这3年才给我一个妹子，就是在我们的商业街上天天寻谈子。你们都给我等着，总会有一天我会闪现。你们还在看不起，我就用时间赚好多钱。这条街走到尽头有家沉重的夜总会，里面的几个小姐对我不错，认我当哥们，他们不嫌弃我的长相，还给我按摩背，经常说去英国打工人傻钱多能消费。这个想法不错，我却一直皱着眉，这路费我爸没有也不能给我老婆张嘴。我相信这次严打举报卖淫会有奖励，姐妹们人各有志，不择手段，别怪我心黑。我当时老公看见泰晤士河还有Big Ben，在一见中餐馆的2厨还被逼着包馄饨，开了自己的餐馆，因为不勤快而打牌叫革命的东西能上被晃成是制片人。这些人只剩下我这样的人，他们也相信我想怎么说就怎么说，他们绝不会反对，还是那样点头，还要对上面继续装孙子。我的梦想就快实现了，千万别自卑。你们都给我等着，总会有一天我会闪现。你们还看不起我，我就用时间赚好多钱。警察都别来找我，是他们非要给我钱。
哎，谢谢大家的陪伴啊，Patrick 回来了吗？ 白水还没有啊，然后咱们稍等一下啊，我们第一次啊，然后这个
Sorry, I'm back。
没事啊，然后我们第一次啊，弄得还挺紧张的啊，然后这俩辩论，那个种族那个问题，quick catch up 一下啊，他刚才看就是 Antifa 啊，然后他那个拜登觉得是个 ideology， 然后这边觉得是个组织啊，然后他们对这个事情的处理啊，真正就是美国的观众会关心这些问题啊，尤其后边评论了会有这个黑人的评论员来评论这个东西，咱们就继续看最后一个问题吧啊 ，OK。
That's the answer.
Well, you
Okay.
got to talk them into it, Joe.
All right.
Sometimes you got to talk them into it.
We're going to move on to our next section,
Like I did with criminal justice reform. I had to talk Democrats into it.
Gentlemen, we're running out of time, so we got to get on to climate change, please. You both have very different visions on climate change. President Trump, you say
这是关于气象的问题啊。
that environmental regulations have hurt jobs in the energy sector. Vice President Biden, you have said you see addressing climate change as an opportunity to create new jobs.
然后你觉得全球变暖，这个民主党这边是觉得是一个增加
新的工作机会，
制造新的工作机会的这个。
For each of you, how would you both combat climate change and support job growth at the same time? Starting with you, President Trump.
你怎么来对抗这个问题，同时来增加这个就业率啊
You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
So we have the Trillion Trees program. We have
我们有这个10亿叫什么1000亿的这个树的这个计划。
so many different programs. I do love the environment, but what I
我真的非常爱护环境啊，非常爱护环境啊。
is the cleanest, crystal clear water, the cleanest air. We have the
我们有最干净的水和空气啊。
best, lowest number in carbon emission.
我们有最低的这个碳排放率啊。
Which is a big standard that I notice Obama goes with all the time. Not Joe. I haven't heard
然后他们在执政的时期不是这样的
Joe use the term because I'm not sure he knows what it represents or means, but I have heard Obama use it. And we have the best carbon emission
我们有最低的这个碳排放率啊。
numbers that we've had in 35 years under this administration.
在这个
We
政
are
府下。
working so well with industry, but here's what we can't do. Look at China.
然后看看中国啊，我就知道这个地方看看中国啊。
Filthy it is.
它多么脏啊 ，OK。
Russia.
看看俄罗斯，看看印度。
The air is filthy. The Paris Accord, I took us out because we were going to have to spend trillions of dollars, and we were treated very unfairly when they put us in.
然后到那个叫巴黎峰会啊，巴黎峰会，然后我们要花这么多钱，而他们不用啊。
They did us a great disservice. They were going to
然后就是他们政府弄的这些事情啊。
take away our businesses. I will not sacrifice tens of millions of jobs, thousands and thousands of companies because of the Paris Accord.
我们不会因为巴黎和会啊、巴黎峰会而牺牲我们这么说数以千计的公司和这个数以千万计的工作啊。
It was so unfair. China
这么
doesn't
不
kick
公
in
平
until
然后中国一直没参与，
2030.
直到
Russia goes
2030年才会参与啊
back。to a low standard, and we
Russia 这是交最少
俄
的钱
罗斯标准反而降低了
啊，标准反而降低了啊。
kicked in right away. It would have destroyed our businesses.
如果我们继续进行的话，我们马上参与的话，我们就会把我们的经济搞垮。
You ready? We have done an incredible job
我们做了一个很出色的工作啊。
environmentally. We have the cleanest air, the cleanest water, and the best carbon emission standards that we've seen in many, many years.
我们有最好的水和空气，还有这个 carbon 啊，还有这个碳排放啊。
Vice President
And we
Biden.
haven't destroyed our industries.
然后我们也没有这个摧毁我们的
把我们的工业给
制
毁掉
好啊。OK。
Vice President Biden, 2 minutes to you, uninterrupted.
Climate change and climate warming, the global warming, is an existential threat to humanity.
然后对于人类来说，
全球暖化是对人类最大的一个威胁。
OK。
We have a moral obligation to deal
我
with
们
it.
有个道德上的
We're
这个
told
义
by
务，
all
必
the
须要
leading
处理
scientists
这
in
件
the
事情。
world, we don't have much time.
科学家是说我们有的时间不多了，
Past the point of no return within the
我
next
们已经
8
可
to
能已
10
经
years.
无法再恢复了。
Former years of this man eliminating all the regulations that were put in by us
这
to
人
clean
把
up
我们本来定好的这个这些排放标准、这个污染标准都给出去。
climate, to clean up, to limit the limit of emissions, will put us in a
减低
position
排
where
放。
we're going to be in real trouble. Here,
会让我们有更大的这个问题啊。
Where we have a great opportunity. I was able to get both all the environmental organizations as well as labor, the people worried about jobs, to support
公司跟这个工会跟这个劳工方面，劳方跟资方都可以有更多的机会。
My climate plan. Because what it does, it will create millions of new good-paying jobs. We're going to invest in, for example, 500,000,
我们会在各种新的工业上面投资，会产生百万的这个高薪的新工作。
50,000 charging stations on our highways, so that
公路上5万个充电站。
can own the electric car market of the future. In the meantime, China is
让这个
doing
电动
that.
车这个市场可以提升起来。
Be in a position where we're going to see to it that we're going to take.
然后中国也在做这样的事情啊，然后我们就会把我们有一个很好的位置啊。
4 million existing buildings and 2 million existing homes and retrofit them so they don't leak as much energy, saving hundreds of millions
我们
of
的这个所有
barrels.
的建筑跟住家可以绝缘做得更好的，不会浪费能源。
Oil in the process and creating significant number of jobs. And by the way, the whole idea of what this is all going to do, it's going to create millions of jobs, and it's going to clean the environment, our health and our
整个过程
jobs.
都会这个净化这个环境，让我们的健康更好，然后产生制造出更多的工作机会。
Are at stake. That's what's happening. And what right now, by the way, Wall Street firms indicated that my plan will in fact create 18.6 million jobs.
华尔街是认为我的这个计划可以产生1800多万新工作。
million more than his. This is from Wall Street.
比他多700万啊，这是华尔街。
And I'll create $1 trillion more in economic growth than his proposal does.
1000亿美元啊，然后会比他多啊。OK， 好。
Not on climate, just on the economy.
President Trump, here
Today came out and said very strongly, $6,500 will be taken away from families under his plan.
OK，
是谁算的？说是以他的这个环境计划来讲，每个家庭都会要多出1年吧，6000美元
啊，6000美元又要多交税啊。OK，
税或者其他的 cost。
对。
If you look at what he wants to do,
他的 plan 就是一个经济的灾难啊。
If you look at his plan, his environmental plan, you know who developed it? AOC plus 3.
啊，是那个
AOC plus 3，那是那个民主党那个议员吧？
对，那个 Cortez 那个以前是个 bartender 啊，然后他们这3个啊，然后他们这4个人一块弄的啊。
They know nothing
啊，
about
他们
the
什么
climate.
都不知道啊。
I mean, she's got a good line of stuff, but she knows nothing about the climate, and they're all
他有自己的时装品牌啊，然后但是他不知道这个啊。
hopping through hoops for AOC plus 3. Look,
AOC plus 3，这是用什么时候发明的这个词儿啊 ？OK， 就是什么叫什么什么 Cortez 那个女的啊，然后他们3个啊 ，OK 弄的这个 environmental plan。Their
real plan costs $100 trillion.
这真正的计划要用10万亿美元啊，是吧？对吧？10万亿美元啊，汉句trillion dollars 啊，10万亿。
We had the best year in the history of our country. For 100 years, we would not even come close to a number like that.
我们这个，如果我们经济是变得100年来最好的，我们都不会有这个资金啊。
Says buildings, they want to take buildings down because they want to make bigger windows into smaller windows.
啊，他们想把窗户改小，然后就把这个楼房拆掉啊。
As far as they're concerned, if you had no window, it would be a lovely thing.
如果你没有窗户，
更好，更不会。
OK 啊，确实有点夸张啊。OK。
This is the craziest plan that anybody has ever seen, and this wasn't done by smart people.
这不是一些聪明人设计的啊，然后这是最疯狂的一个计划啊。
This wasn't done by anybody. Frankly, I don't even know how it can be good politically. They want to.
然后政治上会有什么好处呢？这个我都不知道啊。OK。
$100 trillion. That's their real number.
10万亿美元啊，要花啊。
100 trillion 就是100万亿
啊，100是吗？
一个 trillion 就是
10亿啊，对，
就是万亿。
，OK，100万亿，OK，对对对
，1012次方嘛
，OK，
所以100的话那是1014次方
，100万亿美元，OK，Oh my God，光棍没这钱，OK，继续OK， 然后
They want to knock down buildings and build new buildings with little tiny small windows. I mean, and many other things.
Okay.
And many other things.
还有其他的事情。他是疯子他是疯子，然后让个拜登来说
You'll destroy our country.
So let's hear from the Vice President. I have a number more questions.
I don't know where he comes from.
然后我不知道他是哪儿来的，OK。
I don't know where he comes up with these numbers.
我不知道他从这些数字是从哪儿来的
$1 trillion.
然后100万亿美元是从哪儿来
Give
的？
me a break.
然后
This plan
让我休息一下，OK， 继续
This is plans endorsed by every major
帮忙吧，这意思。
对你帮忙吧别胡说了每一个市长是吧？每一个这个州长
group and every labor group
每一个这个工党的议员就是工会的议员
Labor.Because they know the future lies.
他们知道这个未来是在这个计划当中
and us being able to breathe.
让我们可以呼吸然后这会创造就更好的工作
The fastest growing industry in America
这是增长最快的这个行业之一
is the solar energy
然后太阳能
wind. He thinks wind causes cancer, windmill.
然后他说风车会造成癌症OK， 这俩人我也不知道，他俩说的都是真的吗？咱不知道OK，
好像Trump说过这个话，
是吧？风车会带来癌症，咱们前在荷兰那边然后这个不知道怎么回事Alright， 继续
It's the fastest growing jobs, and they pay good prevailing wages.
然后这个收入都不错
$50 an hour.
然后
We can grow
50美元1小时OK。
And we can be cleaner if we
我们可以增长，我们也可以更干净
go the route I'm proposing.
然后如果我们进行了我的计划
Excuse me.
Please respond, and then I have some
We are
follow-up.
energy independent for the first time. We don't
我们不需要进口能源现在这会唯一一次
need all of these countries that we had to fight war over because we needed their
如果我们当初的话是
打仗都是主要是为了能源，现在我们历史上第一次我们不需要进口能源，主要也是因为这个 cracking oil 的原因。
对
independent. I know more about wind than you do. It's extremely expensive. Kills all the birds. It's very intermittent.
风
车非常很多鸟会撞死
OK
很间断
Got a lot of problems, and they happen to make the windmills in both Germany and China. And the fumes coming up, if you're a believer in carbon emission, the fumes coming up.
如果你相信碳排量的话，这个废气会上升然后在德国跟这个中国建这些东西
To make these massive windmills is more than anything that we're talking about with natural gas, which is very clean. One other thing.
OK， 然后这个绝对不会比天然气要更
比天然气还脏多了制造这些 windmill 的排放可能比天然气还脏许多
OK， 这个咱们可以 fact check 一下是吧我确实不知道这个会不会这样OK，
这个这个很不容易算，我做过一阵子太阳能了，所以要算可以，我有一堆数字来比，不过
OK，
请继续。
好的
打岔
I love solar, but solar doesn't quite have it yet. It's not powerful yet to
我喜欢太阳能，但是不是太有效不是太高效对
to really run our big beautiful factories that we need.
我们需要工厂需要大量的能源，而不能在太阳能上来实现这个
to compete with the world. So it's all a pipe dream. But you know what we'll do?
纯是一个梦
说错
白日梦OK
OK
We're going to have the greatest economy in the world, but if you want to kill the economy, get rid of your oil industry.
如果你想这个摧毁我们的经济的话，你就把这个石油工业给取掉
先把石油工业给先摧毁掉先关掉
OK
And what about fracking?
All right, let me
fracking 这个油然后又开始了然后
Let me allow Vice President Biden to respond.
I never said I oppose fracking.
You said it on tape.
我从来没有说我反对不同意反对这个 fracking
我有磁带我有录音 OK.
Show the tape. Put it on your website.
Put it on.
然后把这个 tape 拿上。
Put it on my website.
我不知道这个 I have it on tape 好像是 Trump 的口头语啊。OK， 他就和那个，当然不能这么说啊。班农这个72小时跟这个他们都有一些口头语啊。OK， 继续啊。All right.
Put it on the website. The fact of the matter is he's flat lying.
他在撒谎啊。
Rule out banning fracking.
I do rule out banning fracking because the answer we need other industries to transition to get to ultimately a complete zero emissions by 2025.
对，我为什么不支持 cracking 呢？但是原因就是说呢，就是我们可以达到那个目标，然后碳排放变到0啊。
Fracking over time is make sure that we can capture the emissions from the fracking, capture the emissions from gas. We can do that, and we can do that by investing money in doing it. But it's a transition to that.
它只是个过渡方案，然后是我们能收集这个 fracking， 然后产生的这个跟这个石油产业产生的废气啊。
Question in this part, and then
Excuse me, he was against fracking. He said it. I will show that to you tomorrow.
啊，我明天会给你公布啊。然后他是反对 cracking 的啊。OK。
I am against fracking until he got the nomination. Went to Pennsylvania. Then he said, "But you know what, Pennsylvania? He'll be against it very soon because his party is totally against it."
Fracking on federal.
他在 Pennsylvania 竞选的时候说过这句话啊。OK， 然后明天他就不承认了啊。
Land, I said no fracking and or oil on federal land.
Let me ask this.
啊，不是在联邦的土地上。
他是说在 federal land，在这个联邦的土地上，不要 fracking。这都有一些 context， 有一些上下文在里面，两边都是
对
呀，
对啊，两边都是在互相揪着啊，揪着小辫子啊。OK， 继续啊。
Final question in this section, and then I want to move on to our final section. President Trump, people of color are much more likely to live near oil refineries and chemical plants. In Texas, there are families who worry the plants near them are making them sick. Your administration has rolled back regulations on these kinds of facilities. Why should these families...
这些炼油厂吗？说的是啊，他说
对，讲的是炼油厂，采油的跟那 refinery 就是炼油厂的，炼油厂附近这边生病的这个几率会比较多，然后在这些区域多半是房价稍微低一点，所以是比较的低收入，然后多半也就是有色人种住的比较多。
OK
然后本来是有一些法规，就是在这些炼油厂附近这个能够建民居的这个住宅的这个规定。那他记者是说，Trump 政府把这些规定有把它往后退
啊，就把它减小了啊。OK。
Give you another 4 years in office.
The families that we're talking about are employed heavily, and they are making a lot of money, more money than they've ever made.
啊，他们在附近的就业率非常高，然后他们
比他们从前能赚的钱都赚更多。
对，
这个回答我不觉得很好。
对呀，
你觉得嘞？
我觉得也不是，你不能我在核
对啊，就把他们当奴工嘛，是吗？
对呀，我不能在核电厂上班，你就非得让我感染核辐射呀，对吧？这个我觉得不太好啊。当然，继续听他怎么说啊。
If you look at the kind of numbers that we produce for Hispanic, for Black, for Asian, it's 9 times greater the percentage gain than it was in 3 years than it was under 8 years.
他们赚了9倍的钱啊，比他们在位的时候。
他们的增加的量多9倍，不是赚9倍的钱
增加对，比
他们的薪资的增长比这个奥巴马在的时候那个增长多
9倍啊。OK。
To put it nicely, 9 times more. Now, somebody lives. I have not heard the numbers or the statistics that you're saying.
我没听到你刚才说的这些问题的数字啊。
But they're making a tremendous amount of money.
他们挣了好多的钱。
We saved it, and I saved it again a number of months ago when oil was crashing because of the pandemic.
然后我这个储备了这个
几个月前疫情的时候，这个原油价钱跌到0的时候，
对。这个光文贵听说也储备了挣了30亿啊，我不知道有没有真的啊。OK， 继续啊。OK。
Saved it. We got, say what you want about relationship. We got Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Russia to cut back way back. We saved.
这就说当时他跟俄罗斯跟这个叫什么
墨西哥跟这个沙特阿拉伯
啊，对，沙特阿拉伯，然后当时在谈deal啊。OK。
Our oil oil industry, and now it's very vibrant again. And everybody.
现在这个石油产业是非常好的。
It's very inexpensive gasoline. Remember
Vice President Biden.
之前是很贵的啊，好像又涨上来了。现在啊 ，OK， 继续啊 ，OK，
涨回来一点。
对。
And we're going to have a final question for both of you.
My response is that those people live on what they call fence lines. He doesn't understand this.
啊，他们住在 fence line， 就是这个叫什么 edge 吧，好像悬崖边一样，这个感觉。
对，就是这种工厂的篱笆旁边吧。
对，
这其实是不好的区域了。
对啊。
Live near chemical plants that in fact pollute. Chemical plants and oil plants and refineries that pollute.
炼油厂啊、采油厂啊，跟这个化工厂啊，让他们生活在那些地方啊。
I used to live near that when I was growing up in Claymont, Delaware.
啊，我
他就说他在 Delaware 小地方，他是不是说他的父亲是个矿工还是？
对，他是一个什么矿工的儿子啊。然后他说这个，然后他说住在这儿，他说川普根本就不明白啊。
And all the more oil refineries in Marcus Hook and the Delaware River than there is any place, including in Houston at the time. When my mom get in the car and when there was first frost to drive me to school, turn in the windshield wiper.
当第一次霜降的时候，我妈妈然后坐上车把我
开车带我去
学校的时候啊 ，OK， 有描述的啊，这个地方我倒是挺喜欢政客描述一下亲民的东西啊，但是这个拜登总给我感觉有点假啊 ，OK， 然后咱们继续啊 ，OK， 好像这段是背的啊 ，OK。Oil
slick in the window.
啊，然后有 oil， 有这个油在这个雨刷上啊 ，OK。
So many people in my state were dying and getting cancer.
然后我的家族里多少人死去？当然，你看他运用的他确实他的这个大儿子是死了，好像是个车祸啊，是病吗？啊 ，OK， 继续啊 ，All right。
Fact is, those frontline communities, it doesn't matter what you're paying them. It matters how you keep them safe.
对，然后那些这个第一线的员工，他不太，他对，不是会因为赚
健康跟安全还是
对，健康跟安全还是重要的啊。
Do you do and you impose restrictions on the pollutions the pollutants coming out of the
你减低了这个限制啊，排放的限制，所以说他们得到的这个污染是变多了啊。
Fence line communities
啊，然后他们的 fence line 住在篱笆边的这些人啊
，OK。Okay, I have one final question.
Would he close down the oil industry? Would you close down the oil industry?
By the way, I would transition from the
啊，你会把这个关上吗？啊，你会把这个关上吗？啊 ，OK， 你会把这炼油厂都关了吗
industry, yes.
啊，我会关上，我会关上啊。
It is a big statement because I would stop.
Why would you do that?
Because the oil industry pollutes significantly.
然后他们会污染环境啊，污染环境，所以说他刚才就是说的，这是一个过渡措施啊。
Here's the deal, but you
That's a
can't
big
do that.
statement.
Well, if you let me finish the statement, because it has to be replaced by renewable energy.
啊，然后会被这个新能源取代啊。
Over time, and I'd stop giving to the oil industry. I'd stop giving them federal subsidies.
啊，我会给他们联邦补助啊。
Subsidies to the gas, excuse me, to solar and wind.
Yeah.
Why are we giving it to oil industry?
We actually.
哎，Patrick，你那边声音有点小啊。
喂，听得到吗？
哎，好了啊 ，OK， 好了啊 ，OK。
Do give it to solar and wind.
We
and
have
that's
one
maybe the
final
biggest
question.
statement in terms of business. That's the biggest statement.
Okay.
Because
We have
basically
one
what he's
final
saying
question,
is he is
Mr.
going to
President.
destroy the oil industry. Will you
他
remember
要
that
毁灭石油工业啊。
Texas? Will you
Okay.
remember that Pennsylvania,
啊，
Oklahoma?
看看 Pennsylvania， 看看 Texas 啊。
Vice President Biden, let me give you 10 seconds to respond, and then
Ohio.
I have to get to the final question. Vice President Biden.
OK， 副总统。
He takes everything out of context, but the point is,
他就是不说上下文啊 ，OK， 然后就是随意引用啊。
we have to move toward a net zero emissions. The first place to do that by the year 2035 is in energy production. By 2050, totally.
OK， 然后我们2035年就到这个就是零排放的这个阶段，到2050年的这个计划啊。OK。
One
Is he gonna
final
get
question
China
to
to do
both of
it?
you. No, we're finished.
啊，他说你会让中国这样做吗？哎，没事，你再调一下麦克风，那个 Patrick 啊。
好
啊，
听得到吗？
听得到啊，好啊。你会让中国这样做吗？看看，咱们继续啊。然后
Is he going to get China
to our
do it?
final question. We
No,
have to
I'm
move
going
on
to
to our final
rejoin Paris
question.
Accord and make China abide by what they agreed to.
All right,
That'll
this
cost you
is
$1
about
trillion.
leadership, gentlemen. And this first question does go to you, President Trump. Imagine this is your inauguration day. What will you say in your address to Americans who did not vote for you?
当你当选的日子的话，然后如果你会跟没选你的人怎么说啊？
没有投你票的人，
对啊，怎么说啊
Have 1 minute, starting with you.
每个人1分钟啊。然后这次那个 Patrick， 你来一下川普，我来一下拜登吧。啊，咱们角色扮演，最后一个问题了啊。All right，
好，试试看
啊，好。
We have to make our country totally successful as it was prior to the plague coming in from China.
我们要让我们的国家跟这个中国病毒来之前一样的成功。
Now we're rebuilding it, and we're doing record numbers, 11.4 million jobs.
我们的创纪录的新工作机会。
OK。
A short period of time, etc. But I will tell you, go back. Before the plague came in, just before, I was getting
在中国病毒
calls
来之前，
from people that were not normally people that would call me. They wanted to get together. We had the best black unemployment numbers
很
in
多
the
人
history of our
来一般不太跟我讲话的，都来跟我联络。
country. Hispanic, women, Asian, people with diplomas, with no diplomas, MIT
亚洲
graduates.
人，
有学历的，没学历的啊。
没学历的，各个阶层的人，各个种族的人都来跟我联系。
Number one in the class, everybody had the best numbers. And you know what? The other side wanted to get together. They wanted to unify. Success is going to bring us together.
成功会把我们拉
成
在一起。
功就是要把大家团结在一起才算是成功。
We are on the road to success. But I'm cutting taxes, and he wants to raise everybody's taxes. And he wants
他们是要给大家增加税，我是要给大家减税。
to put new regulations on everything. He will kill it. If he gets in, you will have a depression, the likes of which you've never seen. Your
他要是当选
401
的话，我们经济会再大萧条。
days will go to hell, and it'll be a very, very sad day for this country.
All right.
然后对这个，
那会是对国家是很悲惨的一天。
对啊。
Vice President Biden, same question to you. What will you say during your inaugural address to Americans who did not vote for you?
同样的问题啊，没选的人啊。
Say, I'm an American president.
我是美国的总统。
Represent all of you, whether you voted for me or against me.
不管你投没投我票，我都代表你啊。
And I'm going to make sure that you're represented.
我会就是怎么说？
我会代表你，
保证我代表你们啊。
Give you hope. We're going to move. We're going to choose science over fiction.
OK， 我们会给你希望啊，我们会
根据科学，而不是小说啊，不是小说。严立梦，听着点啊。OK。
Hope over fear. We're going to choose.
我们不会让这个恐惧来统治我们。
Move forward because we have enormous opportunities. Enormous opportunities.
你有一个巨大的机会啊。
Make things better.
让事情变好。我们可让这个经济增长。
We can deal with the systemic racism. At the same time,
我们会处理这个系统性的危机啊。
We can make sure that
系
our
统性的这个
economy
种族危机、种族歧视啊。OK。
is being run and moved and motivated by clean energy.
我们会有清洁的能源啊，然后来
工业要是让这个清洁能源来推动。
对。
Creating millions of new jobs, and that's the fact.
我们会创造100多万的新的工作啊。
We're going to do, and I'm going to say, as I said at the beginning,
就像我一开头说的这样。
is on the ballot here is the character of this country.
然后你们去投票的时候是这个国家的色彩啊，
Decency.
这个国家的特色啊。Sorry，OK， 特色啊 ，OK。
国家的品格了。
品格啊 ，OK。
Respect, treating people with dignity, making sure that every
然后大家这个叫什么尊重啊，然后对，然后用一个这个高尚的信仰来，
大家都有尊严，
大家都有尊严啊 ，OK。
Everyone has an even chance, and I'm going to make sure you get that. You have
我要
的机会，我会确认你们都有这个机会
，OK。
been getting it the last 4 years.
All right, I want
如果我去了这个，我会执政4年的话啊，执政4年的话，这个基本上就结束了啊。
Thank you both for a very robust hour and a half, a fantastic debate. Really appreciate it. President Trump, former Vice President Joe Biden, thank you to Belmont University for hosting us today.
基本上就结束了，咱们不听他结束语了啊。那个
1小时半，我们这边讲了快3小时，
快3小时啊。到最后还有咱们10分钟吧，5分钟的时间 ，Patrick， 你简短的评断一下你是什么感觉啊？
最后这个问题，事实上川普答得不好，
对对对，
是吧？
啊，对对对，
对不对？因为他是说你要是你当选，你怎么跟你没有投你票的人讲话？那这种时候，你再无论如何，尤其你第二任当选，你这个姿态无论如何可以放低，可以和缓一点。
对对对。
但是 Trump 仍然是依旧这个很 feisty，
对对对，
就是很对，还是这个样子。这个是他的最大的弱点。说真的，因为 Trump 在这部分他这次已经比上次和缓许多。
对，
但是像这种地方，他收不住，他拉不住自己。对不对？所以说最后这个问题，其实刚刚最后这个结尾，他给大家的尤其一般中间选民，这个是会失分的，我认为。
对对对。
那这个拜登他当然他的家族的问题，这个贪腐是不是有贪腐的问题？当然我没有证据，但是看来这个证据看来这个线索非常多。他就现在是拼命的，完全尽量避免不去谈这个。川普是一直想把他拉进来，但是效果有多少，我也很难讲。
对对对对对。
只是刚才这个给我听到最后这个问题，我是觉得川普他其实可以讲得更好一点，尤其他现在已经是总统，他要再当总统，他大可姿态可以放，就是比较不是说高姿态，就是说在这个道德制高点一样的，可以讲得比较好一点。刚刚他最后这个结尾回答的，我是觉得蛮不好。
对对对对对，但是呢，这就是他的策略，他就是 being Trump being Trump。他应该是不会改变这个是
也可能，我不晓得他有没有 advisor 会提醒他、劝告他或怎么样，或者说这些人他反正都不听，就是他自己。
对对对对，
这我们真的无从而知，无从得知。
对对对对对对对，哎，芊来了然后芊Patrick， 然后跟我很辛苦本来以为2个小时之内能解决战斗，结果后来这个3个小时然后当然这是我们第一次合作当然有情可原。我说一下我的感受，因为 Trump 第一次就赢了嘛，所以说他就继续用这个策略 ，Nothing's wrong don't fix it until it's wrong， 是吧？然后这是他的策略但是呢，我觉得他对这个 Joe 这边呢，然后那个中国那个问题、腐败的这些问题呢，他没有追得太凶比上次来讲他没有追得太凶。当然，可能跟新的辩论政策有关系，再有是不是他后面有大招，咱们再看但是 Joe 这边呢，我就感觉他是一个老牌的政客，他说话很有分寸很能抓到观众，而且是中间选民，特别是穷苦阶层，这个就是说这些人的心理。但实际他们8年前干了什么呢？我当时也不太清楚，所以说咱们要看看美国人民是怎么投票来选举的这个东西如果想在这个辩论会中得到一个确定的答案是很难的，萝卜白菜各有所爱我想大家就是有这么一个观点就明白了是吧 ，Patrick？ Okay, so very honored to have you, Patrick. Well done, and
the pleasure is mine. 跟各位这个听友大家先抱歉，因为根本没有准备，然后很匆忙就上来，那翻译的这个品质非常，我自己是非常不满意。这个我觉得这个威廉翻译的比我好很多。
没有，咱俩是 teamwork teamwork， 咱们都是很高的水准我起码觉得比陆大脑袋那边要强很多然后希望下次我们看看这个竞选之夜的时候，咱们要不要来做一次？先打一个广告，到时候我跟这个 Patrick 来跟大家先预约一下到时候再说。咱们
选举是礼拜2嘛，对吧？
对，
都是每一次都是礼拜2。
对
投票日找个礼拜2，所以我们看看吧。
我们看看，咱们不用就是一天这好长的最后出结果那1-2个小时，咱们看看给大家说一下，然后跟踪一下实施的这个东西然后最好是找那个 critical moment， 如果是提前有一方胜了就没什么意思了嘛。到时候再说，我会一直关注这个事情，到时候我再约你了 Patrick 好的那就谢谢大家祝大家晚安然后我们明天见，我跟芊明天这个道德还是爱情OK，
芊来了，
对芊早上好，然后希望大家明天踊跃来电发表自己的观点，那我们就明天见，拜拜。
好，大家晚安，
拜拜。